And we are live. Welcome back to the 14th episode of the Oaktown Bricks podcast. Today we have Cool Han Luke Bricks.
Hello, hello.
What's up?
What's up?
Let's say, who do we have here? Crimson says, whoa, it's like Oaktown Bricks or SMTH. What is SMTH?
Something?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
And then Cool Han says, pumped for this, but also half asleep. Yeah, what time is it for you, man?
It's about 20 past 1 in the morning.
Oof. Well, yeah, thank you again.
But it works for me because I didn't like the idea of going live or trying to do anything live on Friday the 13th. So officially, it's no longer Friday the 13th.
Good point. For me, it is.
Yeah. So if it goes wrong with you and not me. So
yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah. That's a good point. I did think about that, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. But no, I'm happy to be here, mate.
Yeah.
Any opportunity to talk about Lego or Star Wars or pretty much anything with anyone, it's a great opportunity for me.
So yeah, first of all, we always like to start off by asking this, and that is, what is your Lego origin story?
Ooh. Okay, so my Lego origin story is my actual origin story goes back further than I can even remember, because I remember playing with Lego from a very early age. I was born in 1980, in case anybody's wondering. So
the year Empire came out.
It is the year Empire came out, and I was born after Empire, so strictly speaking, it's a couple of months older than me. But yeah, so I look back on some of the Lego sets actually quite recently, within the last year or so, that I still got, because my parents were quite strict in terms of how we look after our toys and stuff. So I still got a lot of the old instruction booklets, or they still had up until a certain point, and then when they finally gave our huge bin of Lego to me, and I kind of inherited it, if you like, even though it was ours anyway. It was always our toys. But yeah, so I was looking through some of the Lego sets, and I just did a bit of Googling to find out the dates on them, because they didn't have the information on them that they have now. It was just kind of pictures of blocks, So, and some of them date back to like the late 70s.
Wow.
So effectively, I was playing with, I mean, that would have been when they were released, maybe not necessarily when they were bought, but my brother is a year older than me. He was born in 79, so he may have had Lego sets as a kind of young child. So I'm putting socks on. It's really cold in my living room. Bear with me a second, everybody. Just got to put a pair of cozy socks on to keep my feet warm.
Papa Rex, what's up, man? He says, well, I made it. Happy Friday, Oaktown. Good morning, Cool Han Luke. Papa Rex, are you in the UK or in the US? I thought US. But just wondering. And then Padawan in the house saying, gents, what's up, Padawan? The president of the Box of Boys himself.
Yeah, the UK boys legend. Boys, yeah. Wow, saying that, he's not even, he's slowly waving goodbye to the UK boys and saying hello to the ACOB affiliation. So
why?
Wow, he's appeared on that show, quite a few times now. So I think maybe he's, yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like they're intertwined, though. UK boys and ACOB. It's like UK boys exist because of ACOB.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, that was just a joke, but it's quite good. A proud moment for us to see him over there representing the UK boys, but also just, as somebody that we know and we're affiliated with and friends with, if you like, that is kind of appearing regularly on the show, who was, just a casual viewer like ourselves at one point. So, so, great. But yeah, sorry, back to the origin story. So, yeah, so Legos, I've always been surrounded with Lego since a young kid. I remember having sets for Christmas, and my parents talked to me recently about how when they used to buy the sets, they didn't feel right giving us the set in a box as a Christmas present. So they would actually build it for us. So we would wake up, say, Christmas morning or whatever, and the set would be sort of built so we could play with it straight away. I know, and that's just the way we kind of, we were probably too young to build them at that point ourselves. And when I look back at the instructions, they didn't ever have, they didn't. They're not like they are now. It would just be a bag of pieces, and it would just show you over every page. Would just show. I wish I pulled some of those instructions out now. I could have showed you, but
yeah,
it just showed like 10 pieces had been added to each picture. And in some cases, they weren't even highlighted. So you just had to look and guess. So I think it was a lot more difficult back then in the kind of mid 80s. But yeah, long story short, my parents kind of, when it came to sort of toys and stuff, because they didn't have a lot of money, if I'm honest. We weren't a well-off family at all. But when it came to things like that, they preferred quality. And Lego, even back then, was quite well known as a quality, decent toy. And it stood the test of time because those bricks are still in my collection now. Those instruction booklets, obviously, it takes some looking after as well, but the toy does last. And I think all the negativity around Lego and its pricing and whatever the negativity may be around in the community, it is a quality product, and that's something that can never be taken away from it. And I think most people can agree to that. And So yes, it's always been around for me, and I kind of, when I say, some people say they have what I call it, a dark age of Lego Star Wars, if you like. But for me, it was just a dark age of Lego, because Lego Star Wars didn't come out till I was already an adult, so it's difficult for it to be like kind of a dark age of growing up and growing out of Lego for me as such. It was more a case of, that's not what I was buying at the time, but. Yeah, so really interested in Lego most of my life. I remember going when I had my own pocket money and buying sort of pirate sets, which was the kind of new thing. Cool. Maybe late 80s, early 90s, really into that sort of thing. And always preferred the fantasy over the reality. So I never collected a lot of what are now known as city sets. They would have been just Lego system then. So
you preferred the castle, space, and pirates to the city?
Well, castle for me, living in Wales, isn't fantasy. It's real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are actually castles in the town I live in.
Oh, okay, got it. Well, pirates are like as real.
Yeah, pirates is real as well. Yeah, but I think it was like you say with castle. For you guys at least, it is airing on the side of fantasy. So I preferred that. When space was kind of a big thing, really got into that as well. And then I think, as I became a teenager and whatever, drifted away from Lego in general, but we always kept the Lego. It was never at a point where, even with my Star Wars figures, it got to a point where I'm like, I'm not into this anymore. Let's sell them. Let's get rid of them. But that never happened with Lego, which again says something about the product. And then, I think 1999 came around. I was like 19 going on 20 at the time when Star Wars Lego was released, or Star Wars came back to the cinemas with the Phantom Menace. I remember seeing the sets and thinking, oh, wow, this takes me back. I'm going to grab one of these sets. And I never built it, kept it sealed, not on purpose. One? It was the droid, oh, Christ, from Phantom Menace. What are the flying droids called? Christ, I've forgotten.
Vulture droids?
Vulture droids. Well done. The Vulture droids, it was one of those, and it was like brown and tan. And I just thought it was interesting. So that would have been the second wave, because there was 13 sets released in the first wave in 1999.
13?
13, 13, yeah.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yeah, so and that was in two separate waves. So they did one around about the time where Phantom Menace came out. Just before Phantom Menace came out, because the special editions had been in the cinema. 1997, 1998. And they released kind of the X-Wing and some of those kind of sets. And then when Phantom Menace came out later in the year after Phantom Menace had come out, they released some of the Phantom Menace-based sets. So it was first wave in 1999. I bought a set, but maybe not the very first wave, if you like. But and that was it. Never thought nothing else of it. I was collecting a lot of Star Wars stuff at the time. I think fast forward then to sort of 20. I think it was about, my daughter was born in 2012, so it must have been around 2014 when she was quite young, and I got a Father's Day present, which of course she didn't buy. My fiance bought, but from her, if you like. And it was a little Lego set. I forget which one it was. It might have been the Jawa droid battle pack with the little sort of crane arm. Do you remember that one?
Mhm.
I think they bought that set for me.
I do recognize that one.
And yeah, and at the time, I think it was the Darth Vader's transformation chamber, the Julan Naboo, and the Carbonite, sort of first versions of dioramas as they were then, but they were kind of playset dioramas.
Yeah.
I remember getting those quite early, but I hadn't bought them for myself. They were bought for me for either Christmas or birthday presents, because I was into like building and crafty type stuff and creating stuff myself. And my fiance kind of wondered, there's Star Wars out there, there's Lego out there. We know you're into both things. How come you've never bought any? And I just thought, I'd admired it from afar, but never really kind of got into it. And that was it then. I got kind of hooked. And I think I don't know whether it was Rogue One and Solo were in the cinemas, that kind of era, 2017, 2018, I started seeing the sets. yeah, but those the sets for those movies in particular, I actually enjoyed at the time, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go out, and I can't remember. Again, I can't remember which set it was, but I think it was like the AT Hauler from Solo. I remember seeing that in the cinema, I saw it in the cinema, and I remember seeing the sets and thinking, actually, I'm quite interested in that. So I bought a couple of sets here and there. But what really got me back into the hobby, or got me really sort of deep into the hobby, was when the 25th anniversary came out. And at that point, I'd casually bought, a few sets here and there, never really got fully into it, certainly not into the community. But 20th anniversary sets came out, which had obviously the figures in there with them. And I thought, I got to have all of these. And then that was it. And I kind of nosedived since. Got into the community as in YouTube, probably a year or so later, started watching. And that's it. I mean, I wouldn't say origin story. I mean, obviously there's a lot that's happened between then and now even, but that's my sort of general outline, in that it was kind of Lego's always been a part of my life from, a very young child up until now. But there was a lot of years where I didn't, but that's only because I was spending my money on alcohol, I guess, and drinking. And, I had this conversation with people all the time, and they're like, how come you never saw this? And how come you didn't know about this? And I'm like, well, there was a long period of time where all I did was work, because I worked full time from the time I pretty much left education, where I worked and spent all my money on socializing, going out. And obviously those days are gone now, long gone. So I replaced it with something else to do with my social time, and that is Lego, Star Wars, and you guys, the community. So you are now my nightclub and my bar.
Oh no, we went through that one. Whitaky says, "Hi, struggling to stay awake, but wanted to say hello. Have a great stream, and I'll catch the rest tomorrow." Well, see you later, Whitaky. It's great for you to pop in here.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's my
Papa
fellow.
Rex says Padawan fun live stream last night. Oh yeah, the ACOB one, right? I caught part of it.
It was an amazing stream, Yeah. But yeah, Whitaky, thanks for tuning in, mate. One of my co-hosts there over at Cool Hand Luke Bricks fortnightly podcast. Just want to give a quick shout out to.
Of course.
But we might talk about that later. I'm interested though. Have you got what's your own origin story?
So I'll be honest with you. I kind of had the same reaction as you. Like, I've always found Lego interesting, but like I don't know why I never like got into it until it was the pandemic. And like literally during the first month of the pandemic, I'm like, I'm bored. I need a hobby, and I looked up Lego videos online, and kind of thought that they were really cool. And that's the story. From then, it's
but what made you Google Lego specifically?
I don't know. I think I just kind of remembered. I'm like, do you know what? Lego's pretty cool. I think I want to see what other people have built online and stuff like that. So yeah.
So that's your origin for the getting into this community, though, right? But in terms of physical Lego, playing with Lego? Is that?
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I never played that much with Lego as a kid. Well, I only had one Duplo set, and my dad got it for me. It was really cute. It was at a Kmart that has now closed, but
I remember Kmart, believe it or not.
yeah, I remember Kmart too. Got my first Lego set at a Kmart. Yeah, but it was a Duplo set with some animals. I was like 5 when I got it because it had cool animals. But like after that, I never got a Lego set until like, maybe some of those basic brick boxes throughout the years. A few, and then I would build occasionally throughout the years, but never really, really got into it until 2020.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I would play with some bricks, I guess, like as a kid.
That's quite interesting, really, because I know you're obviously a little bit younger than myself, and for you, your childhood is not as ancient history as it is for me.
Yeah.
Certainly in comparison. I mean, I'm not exactly like a relic myself, but
No.
But it's really interesting because most of the people, the younger generation people, even people like Paduan, who's in this kind of like, I don't know, late 20s, mid 20s, early 20s, whatever. Usually those people have got, have been buying and having bought for them Lego, specifically Lego Star Wars sets, just because this is, the community we belong to, where it's kind of Star Wars driven. Since a very young age, and that's weird for me because obviously Lego Star Wars didn't exist when I was a kid, but so, and they've kind of, in most cases, they've kept up with it up until sort of teenager and then gotten back into it sort of early 20s. So you're saying that, I'm guessing that wasn't the case for you?
No, me it was, I was never really a K-ful much at all, a little bit, but I got really into it as a T-ful.
Wow. That is interesting.
So yeah, it's different. Yeah. But it was. I always thought that it was cool. I don't know why I just never got into it. It's probably because I had other toys. Like I had, I was really into animals, and I guess that we just wouldn't pass by the Lego section often. But now that I think about it, Lego's not very good, especially back then. Now they do much better, but there weren't that many sets of animals back then. So yeah. Yeah, so that's probably the reason why I never like really, really got into it. And again, I don't think I was ever that exposed to it as well, in a way. But Crimson says, "Cool, Han. We thank you for the ultimate sacrifice, being up at 2:30 a.m." No, it's 1:30 a.m. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say it's one. Well, he says 2:36, but yeah, he's near enough. So, but it's actually one. I think you'd have to go over to France to be at 2:30 a.m. But yeah, close enough, mate. And but whereabouts Crimson Toaster? Is he? I mean, he's in the US. I gather that much. But
yeah,
is he near you? Or?
No, he's in the East Coast. I interviewed him like 3 weeks ago, I think. Well, 3 episodes ago, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think I watched that one, but I don't remember you mentioning whereabouts he was.
No,
so
he's
for
in
him,
the state of New York, not in New York City, but like upstate New York.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Catskills, is it, or something like that? Is that what they call it? Where what's the film? The film that was shot up in the Catskills up in New York. This might be before your time.
It probably is.
Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner.
Oh,
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing. Was it shot in New York? I forgot. I've seen the movie, but I forget if it's where it's shot.
Yeah, in the Catskills, upstate New York. It's actually where Mike Tyson's from as well, believe it or not.
Oh, really? Yeah, I know that he lives somewhere around there. And then we also have, who else do we have in the chat? We have Joel's Brick saying, yo.
Joel's Bricks are recent.
Joel's Bricks says, wait, hold up. Another Welsh person? Yes, Joel's Bricks is Welsh. He also does content.
I thought I'd go. So Joel's Bricks, yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to watch that episode yet. I watched the sort of the beginning bit, but I picked up that he was British, but I didn't quite pick up on his accent because the bit I was watching, you were doing most of the talking. So you get a break from talking this time, mate, because you got a real talker on your hands here.
Padawan says, "Am I the only one today that saw we might be getting UCS Jango Fett's Slave 1 next year. To me, that...
You are the only one, because I didn't see that.
See, I mean, that sounds like a good idea, but wouldn't it make more sense to do a Revenge of the Sith UCS set as opposed to a,
Yeah, I don't think
one?
Weirdly, even though, I guess the 20th and the 25th anniversary, they were kind of, for Star Wars in general, but I think I feel like they throw stuff at the wall and just see what sticks. I don't think they really have they don't put as much thought into it as we would like to think. So, but I think most people would be happy that there's, a Slave 1 coming next year, regardless of, especially if it's Jango Fett. So, yeah, but I would have liked a play set, I think.
Yeah, me too. I think that would be so much better. I mean, a play set with like young Boba Fett and Jango Fett and Obi-Wan and maybe, either one of those clones, like pre-clone armor, but like when they're in their uniforms at the base.
Ooh.
Or whatever.
But and they need to put like a sound brick in there, like we got with the sorting hat. But this time it makes the noise of the charge thing that he drops, in space. That sound that we all like.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I'd pay the extra for that. But yeah, a play set, but on the scale of the 20th anniversary Slave 1, Boba Fett Slave 1, that kind of size, good size.
No, but I feel like they could do. I feel like they still haven't nailed the perfect Slave 1 size, because I feel like that one is kind of too big. In the sense that if you compare it to the Falcon, it's like, and the X-Wing, like we still don't have one that scales decently well between the range of the two, in my opinion. Like 20th anniversary is like way too big for a Falcon, but then the most recent one is like kind of the size of an X-Wing, so it's just kind of awkward.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think when people started talking about the UCS version, I was just like, the 20th anniversary one is, to me, so much better because it feels more minifig scale as well, I think. But
I think technically the UCS one is like life size relative to the characters, but I think but that's because the UCS Falcon is also life size compared to the characters, so yeah, kind of gets complicated.
Somebody on Beth.
Because Lego wouldn't surprise me if they did very little for Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, that's Lego for you. Was every single theme. Sometimes they're like, sometimes they don't give the fans what they really want. Like Lego Harry Potter fans waiting forever to get Deathly Hallows sets.
Yeah. And I think it's as much as it's great that they've released this this newest Harry Potter set, I want to call it the Burrow. I was going to call it the Hollow for some reason. Is that something from Harry Potter? It is, isn't it? The Horror?
Yeah, kind of. Deathly Hallows, but yeah.
As much as I mean, yeah, it's just another rehash of a set. So I feel like they're getting the Star Wars treatment a little bit now, where they're just rehashing the same things in different sort of sizes and scales. Which
even worse in a way, because now we get new castles. We get castle expansions every year, and it's like we get a new castle system every 3 years. Just like Lego Star Wars gets a new X-Wing and TIE Fighter every 3 years. Like, look, this is from 2018. These castles, Hogwarts castles, and we have 2 systems since then. One from 2021, and now a new one in 2024.
Yeah, I just don't see how the technique in such a short space of time could change enough for it to be different.
Yeah, it did not. Padawan HQ provides a hot take. Harry Potter should have the Lord of the Rings treatment and just do one massive D2C per year and a few brickheads. No, I still say a few playsets would be good, but we definitely need some Lord of the Rings playsets. I think everyone can agree with that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't buy them, but I definitely appreciate Lord of the Rings, and I think I appreciate Harry Potter a little bit. For me, it's like, I don't know. I never saw the excitement in Harry Potter generally as a film, but As a franchise, yeah, it holds. So
Papa Rex says the 20th anniversary Slave 1 is fire, but a Django Fett UCS Slave 1 would be loner time. Yeah, I can agree. And then Jules Briggs says, Cool Han, are you a Cardiff fan football?
well, you've probably noticed from my accent that I've got a Cardiff accent because I was actually born and raised in Barry. This won't mean anything to you now, Oaktown. So no, I'm not a Cardiff football fan, but not because of my location, because I live nowhere near there now, but because I don't like football. In fact, I hate it.
Why?
Never seen the interest. I'm not a big sports guy, if I'm honest. The only thing I'll probably sit and watch is athletics, because I was more of an athletics guy than a sports guy in school.
What do you mean by athletics?
Running, jogging, throwing things, sprinting. So I was more of a decathlon type person. So high jump, I was pretty good at. Long jump, sprinting, and cross country. Those kind of things was more my forte. For whatever reason, but I just never interested in football. I wasn't particularly bad at it. Just I played five-a-side for a little bit when I was kind of in my mid to late 20s, and I sustained far too many injuries. So, but yeah, so no, not kind of football fan, not a football fan at all. But I do reside from the capital of my country, which is sort of Cardiff area, but actually specifically Barry. So a quick shout out to Gavin and Stacey. If anybody's seen or heard of Gavin and Stacey, they're filming another another Christmas episode right now down in Barry. So yeah, that means nothing to you, Oaktown. But
I'm like, what the hell is that?
Google Gavin and Stacey, and you might get a bit of an idea of the kind of life, the lifestyle I was brought up in. So.
Got it. Mayo Hosco says real whole egg. Mayo in the house. What's up, Mayo?
Real whole egg.
Yeah, and then Joel Sprick says real whole egg as well. There's only so much you can squeeze out of Harry Potter, and it just seems like they are repeating themselves year and year. Oh yes, for sure. They most definitely are. Although
sorry, go ahead.
They do a few sets a year that are like original. Like this is the only Hogsmeade that we've had. I don't know if you probably can't see it well. But this is like the only Hogsmeade that we've had. And then there are a few other sets like the Durmstrang ship where it's the first Durmstrang ship in a while. But for the most part, they're all retreads.
Yeah, I think that the term rinse and repeat applies to Harry Potter much more than it does to Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially because I don't feel like there are sort of 7 movies. Is it 7 or 8 movies?
8 movies.
Sorry, yes, because the 7th book was split into 2, wasn't it? So
yeah.
I don't even know that because I sell the books in my store, but yeah, there's a lot less lore there, if you like, a lot less depth, but sort of not more sets than Star Wars, but probably not far off. But that Hogsmeade though is quite interesting because I wouldn't know what the hell that was until you showed it to me. But that is probably one of the defining buildings for me in terms of Harry Potter world in Universal Studios in Florida, where I sort of remember sort of seeing that that kind of structure, and you buy like the drink, I don't know, is it butterbeer or something like that?
Yeah.
From there, and that kind of sort of snowy type building, if you like. I mean, a lot of buildings probably look the same, but I remember specifically that building because it's quite definitive. So, yeah, it's crazy to think they've only done one version of that. So,
yeah, I know that they did I know that they did the candy store in a 2004 set with the Shrieking Shack. I don't know if you know what any of this means, but still.
Shrieking Shack. No, my fiance Kirsty, shout out to Kirsty, is more of a Harry Potter fan than me. So I've seen the films, all of the films once, and she's trying to get me to watch them again, which I'm quite happy to do. But if I'd never watched them again, I don't feel like I would have missed anything. So that's my Harry Potter relationship. But again, I think it's because it came out around about the time that I was kind of an adult who really wasn't into anything at the time except for socializing and drinking, that kind of thing.
So you were also saying you're not big into Lord of the Rings either?
That's a little bit different. We did talk about this actually on a previous episode. Oh, what happened?
What happened? I guess that Cool Han froze.
Well, I'm not sure what happened there. Am I back?
Okay, yeah, you're back. You're back. Your audio is good too.
Yeah, I don't know. It weird. It cut out, and I was actually watching myself on YouTube for a couple of seconds. That was bizarre. But yeah, I think the Lord of the Rings gods tried to strike me down for saying that I'm not into Lord of the Rings. But yeah, it's not that I'm not into Lord of the Rings. I think I'm probably more into that than Harry Potter by quite a margin. But I'm always more of a sci-fi person than a fantasy person when it comes to films. But I did enjoy that kind of thing. But I didn't know anything about it. So unlike Padawan, who's kind of been sort of, dipped in the lore of it from an early age and probably read the books and stuff like that. For me, it was kind of more of a, well, this is this movie looks fantastic. Let's go and see it. Wow. That was kind of mind blowing. What the hell is this kind of new world that I've been exposed to? And then, they were doing sets at that point, but I wasn't buying Lego at that point. So it was kind of forgettable. But now I've started seeing the sets that they've kind of come back with and the difference and the quality of them. And I definitely do respect it. But I've always loved the movies. I've seen the Lord of the Rings movies, I'd say probably 3 or 4 times a piece. So yeah, and I could sit and watch those again anytime. So yeah, definitely more into that lore, more into that kind of franchise, and the Lego sets I've got a lot more respect for. But I still wouldn't buy them just because I haven't got space for the Star Wars stuff I've got. So it's pointless buying anything else.
And I think you've said you feel the same way about Marvel, right?
Yeah,
as you kind of think Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but with Marvel, I feel like I'm really into the movies.
Oh,
but
okay.
The Lego, I don't think I'd ever dream of even buying a Marvel set because I feel like for some reason I feel like Marvel is probably the only. Let's just use the examples we've got on the table at the moment. Star Wars is geared. There's a nice variety of gearing towards kids, all ages and adults. Harry Potter kind of does the same thing. Lord of the Rings, I think this time around is probably geared more towards adults, but if you include all of their sets that they've ever released, there's probably some there included for kids. But with Marvel, I don't really see any kind of adult sets, and when they are, they're not really Marvel based. So, for example, a hammer, the gauntlet, they're more display items. So yes, they are Marvel and they are for adults kind of thing. But what I'm saying is, it's not really like I don't know, a UCS, an adult version of a Harry Potter, a Lord of the Rings, and a Star Wars set is still essentially what you get as a kid set, but bigger and more fleshed out, more detail. Whereas the adult version of Marvel sets are completely different to the kids' versions of sets. So, like, you've got a shield, you've got a gauntlet, you've got a helmet or a mask, but other than that, everything else is kids, So, so that was, that's just my quick spin on it. But I don't really, not a big fan of it, to be honest. I think I'd probably, if I was going to buy anything that isn't Star Wars, and this is just based on your content that I've seen, is probably Ninjago. Because it's a bit more up my alley. I like some of the sets. I've looked back at some of the cassettes they've built before, and I've actually saw them in the shops and thought, I could buy that and just change out a couple of colors and make that a really cool looking Star Wars ship. But some of the sets I've seen you build as well on your live streams or you've talked about, I thought they actually do look quite nice. And like I said to you, I think I mentioned this to you before in maybe in a private message, I can't remember, but that whenever I kind of see Ninjago sets, I always think of either your review or I just think of you in general and think, I wonder if he's got that. And it just kind of, for some reason, I just associate that with you now for whatever reason.
But, cool.
But also, like, I look at the sets and think, well, actually, I saw his review on that. It actually looks pretty like a cool little build. And, if I had to spare 10 quid, I might actually buy that little set or whatever. So, but yeah, so I think, if I was ever going to move away from Star Wars or move to expand from Star Wars, I think my first one would be Ninjago, believe it or not. So,
yeah, good choice. Well, I just think Ninjago is really cool because number one, the TV show and everything is really cool, and the lore in the TV show is really good, and the sets are really cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I think
But yeah,
I've been speaking to CPA recently, and he's quite into his what's that thing called again? It's
Bionicle.
Bionicle. So that was
Yeah.
way after my time. I was kind of like an adult at the time when that came out as well. But from what I've seen, if that was something that was around now, I think that's something that I could be definitely interested in. Maybe not so much the sets, but the kind of the show, because that seems like kind of up my alley a little bit as well. So typical Welsh Wi-Fi, Joel Bricks is saying, and he's right, because I've just got to power my Wi-Fi. I've just got a sheep in the corner.
Do you also have Sky Wi-Fi?
Sky? No, I've got. Who am I with? I'm with BT.
Got it. So
British Telecom.
Joel's Brick says that he has Sky Wi-Fi and it sucks.
Yeah, no, if I'm honest with you, Joel's, I've never had an issue with my Wi-Fi in the 4 or 5 months that I've been living here. I don't even think it was to do with my Wi-Fi. For whatever reason, StreamYard just seemed to have a bit of a brain fart. So that was kind of weird, because my phone carried on. I got my phone here so I can look at the chat, and that carried on going. And even my laptop carried on going, because when it turned off, it actually played like a few seconds behind on YouTube. And I haven't even got YouTube open on my laptop, so that was kind of weird. So so yeah, nothing to do with my Wi-Fi, just a brain fart. So let's test your Welsh. Can you say? And the answer is no, I can't. Because believe it or not, in case you don't know anything about the Welsh language, and anybody out there who might be interested, we do have our own language over here in Wales. And there is a home language for Ireland and Scotland as well, but they're not as well kind of known and spoken. The Welsh language does kind of, pop up a little bit more. But depending on where you were born and what kind of school you went to, you might not have been surrounded by it so much, even if you were, born and raised in Wales like I was, because I actually went to a Catholic school, so they didn't really teach a lot of languages. And I wasn't
surrounded in Wales.
Yeah.
Interesting. But aren't you guys mostly Protestant over there? Because I'm Catholic, but aren't you guys mostly Protestant over there?
No, not at all. No.
Oh.
No, that's Ireland.
What do you mean? Well, no. Ireland is Catholic.
I thought the kind of whole Protestant Catholic thing, in terms of like the wars and stuff that are going on between those two religions, I believe is mostly in Ireland. But I don't think I know anybody who's Protestant, if I'm honest. But also, religion's not particularly big here. So my point, I think I was trying to make is that because I was brought up Catholic, I was kind of on the outside of the language, because I just wasn't surrounded by it. So my parents didn't speak it. I didn't have friends or family that spoke it. So we just kind of always spoke English. So only recently have I started kind of picking up bits and pieces from a colleague of mine who speaks Welsh and is teaching me bits and pieces. And I actually live now in West Wales, so I don't live anywhere near where I was born and raised. I live in a place called Llanelli, and there's a big Welsh-speaking community here, to the point where everyone will speak to you in English, and when they realize you can speak Welsh, they'll just flick over and start speaking another language. So that word that Joel Bricks put in is actually the name of a place. See that long word? Start with Llanfire Pwll, and that's as far as I can get. That's the name of a place. It's the name of the longest town in the world.
Wow. And
weirdly, Padawan can actually say that, and he's not even from Wales.
Wow.
So that's kind of embarrassing, but
that's harder than supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah, I had a mate in school who could say that backwards as well. But
really, wow.
So I don't know where that came up. It came up in a conversation, and Padawan managed to pull her off. I think it was Padawan. Actually, I say that now. I don't know whether it was. If he's still in the chat, he'll probably let us know. But so unfortunately, Jules, I can't say that. Can you? Is the question. Not can you, sorry, Oaktown, but I meant can Jules? Oh, he's in the valleys.
Oh, nice. I'm in the Valley Merthyr area. Lol. Where's that at?
Right, Merthyr. So, there's in Wales, the pretty much the most of Wales is mountainous, and unless you're by me and you're near the coast, because Wales has got probably one of the biggest coastlines in the world. And people say, well, how can such a small country have a huge coastline? But mostly it's because it goes like that all around the outside, because we're surrounded by very rough seas. So it's taken a beasting. But also because they don't mean we got the biggest coastline. Obviously, if compared to somewhere like America, it'd be tiny, but per size of the country. So it's like 100 square miles, of coastline per square miles of land, kind of thing. So it's like per capita, it's one of the biggest in the world, I believe, next to like Italy. But so we've got. So if you're next to a beach, which most people seem to be, or you're near the water, great. But if not, you're generally living in the mountains. So we call them the valleys. So there's several valleys that make up Wales, and I used to live. And Joel Bricks will probably be the only person who knows what this is I used to live in the Rhondda. So I lived in Treorchy and a couple of different places up in that area, but Treorchy generally. But I've actually worked in Merthyr. I know Merthyr quite well. So I've lived in Merthyr. I've worked in Merthyr town a couple of different times. And I've also worked in Merthyr Pentrabach. So if he knows of any of those areas, then he might let us know. So. Oh, and he can speak Welsh. So.
He can say the word and he can speak Welsh. Okay. And then he says, my way of describing it is mountains with towns in the middle. Got it.
Yeah. And it's literal as well, because people say the valley. So when I was living in Treorchy, there's one main road going through the whole town. And then if you go, there's maybe 3 or 4 streets running parallel with that main road. And then you're on the edge of the mountain. Wow. So you can literally come down this mountain, walk 3 or 4 streets across, down the main street, walk another 3 or 4 streets across, and you start going up the next mountain. So it is literally a valley. And all the towns are built there because the mining industry started here in Wales. And Wales was the biggest exporter of mining and coal for the entire world for years, during the British Empire, of course. So, but yeah, so we supplied the coal that built your country. Well, not your country, but the country you live in.
Yeah. Country I was born in. And then Jules Brick says, nice. Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, sorry, I don't want to turn this into a Welsh history podcast, but
no, you're all good.
Let's get back to Star Wars and some Lego and whatever.
Yeah. Cool. How do you feel about the UCS sail barge? Are you a barge boy then?
Sadly not. Best set of our lives? Nah. And that's not to say it won't be a great set. I'm just not that excited for it for 2 reasons. One is because I think it's going to be disappointing. I get a feeling it's going to be generally disappointing. And 2 is because I'm not a UCS collector. I've made this quite clear. I don't collect UCS purely because I haven't got the space. I just haven't got the space for it. And if I got 500 quid in my pocket, which I never have, but if I had 500 quid in my pocket to spend on Lego, I'd buy 5 £100 sets or 10 £50 sets over a £500 set any day of the week.
Yeah, I probably would too, honestly. That's why I don't have any D2Cs or UCS sets in my collection.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the idea of, sorry if I can give anybody ASMR vibes with eating jelly babies, right? Really close to my mic. But yeah, I really like the sets they've done now, and that the dioramas, what they call them, the ship sets.
MIDI scale,
thank you. So they're almost like a shrunk down version of a UCS set, because they're for display. They look good. The detail on them is quite good for their size. And that's more definitely up my alley.
Got it. So have you picked any of those up?
I've got all of them, I believe, but built 0.
So how big is your backlog?
It's hard to say, because I've got a couple of sets in work. which are just there because I haven't got around to bringing them home. And I bought a couple basically while I was in the process of moving house, so it didn't see any point. And I do more shopping while I'm in work because I live on I work in a retail park. I don't know what you guys would call them over there, but I work in a retail park, so most of the shops.
What's a retail pack?
A retail park is like
a retail park.
So I don't think they really have them in America, if I'm honest. Because you guys have like malls which are pretty big, and that's all generally internal. But imagine a mall, but it's outside. So you walk, it's like a giant area with lots of different shops, but you're outdoors and you go into the shops, but they're all like connected. If that makes sense. Strip mall, like a strip mall. Is it a strip mall?
Yeah. I think that's what it would be.
Like that, but in a big square, as opposed to just being a couple of shops like a laundrette and something else. And
got it.
And they're bigger shops, like huge kind of stores.
Most outlet malls here in America are like that. Like they're outdoors, usually the outlets. Outlet
mall, yeah, that's probably more like it then, yeah. So that's kind of, I work there, so most of my shopping gets done there. So I got a couple in at home, and because the main reason I've got a backlog at all is because I've moved house probably about 3 or 4 times in the last 4 or 5 years, and it was just too much aggro to start unpacking sets. So I'd say I've probably got about 30 boxed sets that are still sealed.
I've heard worse.
Oh yeah, this isn't a brag at all. I'm actually embarrassed about it because I don't want to be one of those people who has boxes and boxes of stuff. Because I do want to build them. I haven't got the time. And some people would say to me, well, if you haven't got the time, why are you buying them? And that's probably right. So I haven't bought any Lego in probably over a month. So I haven't bought anything new recently, mostly because I'm planning to go to Chicago next year, but also because it just doesn't make sense to buy more when I've got so many. And that's just the box sets. Now, in terms of sets that I've got that I've never built, and I might have bought used, or I've bought taken out of the box but never built, it's probably talking another 30. And then, of course, my entire collection, I don't move my sets built. I move my sets unbuilt. So I take them apart and rebuild them. So all of my collection is currently unbuilt. So
really? So you don't have any built sets right now?
I may have 1 or 2, but they're not out on display because basically, my excuse was moving house up until now. But now it's the room where the Lego will be, which we're going to call our hobby room. I'm not lucky enough to have a Lego room because I will have to share it with. It is a spare room, but it'll be shared with my daughter and my fiance for them to have their hobbies in as well. But let's call it the Lego room for the sake of this argument. When that Lego room is probably going to be the last room we set up in this new house we've bought. So everything else comes before that. So it's going to be another couple of weeks, maybe a month or so before I've even got that room set up, and then I can start building again and putting some on display. But yeah.
Got it. Joel's Brick says, are you going to Cardiff Brick Fest this year at Cool Han?
Jules, I'm glad you brought it up. Yes, I am. And the UK boys, and I know you don't belong to that specifically, but if you let me know your Instagram, I can drop you into it because you've actually got a UK boys group on Instagram.
So it's for UK people only, right?
It is, but I mean, I don't want to sort of take credit for it because I didn't set the group up, and therefore I'm not responsible for inviting people and not inviting people, that kind of thing. So I don't want to say too much. But the long and the short of it is that the UK boys, I mean, the main reason we created the group was to kind of chat about UK-based stuff. And the reason that this is probably kind of going to be a bit boring to you is there's a festival in Cardiff, though, and a few of the UK boys are going to meet up there. But if you can get over to Cardiff, Oaktown, you're more than welcome, mate. You're more than welcome. We'll show you a good time. But in comparison to from what I've gathered, Brickworld is like, this festival is like a non-event. It's like one day, not even a full day, and yeah, so it'd be a long way to come for almost nothing. So But yes, I'm planning to go. Originally, because I went last year, when I planned to go this year, I've put my name down to volunteer as a kind of steward working there, and I've had the information back for that, which I've got to like send off. But since then, it turns out there's other people within the community who are going to try and go along, mostly UK boys, and obviously people like yourself, Jules, who, you know, if you're going to go along, we can kind of all meet up or whatever. That'd be great. But obviously I can't work. If I'm planning to work there, I've got to be like working all day, if that makes sense, and helping set up some of the events and things like that. So I won't be available. And the guys who were coming across to meet up were kind of talking about going and grabbing some food, going to the Lego store in Cardiff, and just making a kind of a day of it. So I'm kind of in two minds now. Do I work and volunteer, or do I pay and go as a hobbyist, if you like, or a spectator, and then meet up with other people? I don't know. I still haven't decided that, but either way, I will be there. So
if I were you, I'd go as a hobbyist. I'd pay and go as just a person visiting.
Yeah, give me a sec.
Which shirt you wearing, man?
Sorry, yeah. Take off my sniddy. Get a bit warm.
No, but I was asking, what shirt are you wearing?
Oh,
oh, cool. It's one of those.
Classic Star Wars T-shirt.
Ninjago concert, the fold. Let's see. Yeah, right there, the fold Ninjago. It's signed by the band members, like the ones who sing the intro song. You've probably seen a bunch of fold stuff because of Chicago and stuff like that. But
yeah, I didn't know who they were or anything about them up until
yes.
Seeing those videos, nice. Oh, they've actually signed the. Yes. Right. So you can't wash that now.
No, I do.
Oh, is it? They've done it in permanent ink, I guess.
It's Sharpie actually, but it's pretty durable.
Oh wow.
It's only faded a little bit, but it's still pretty good, honestly.
I suppose you could just get them to top it up again next year or something.
Yeah.
So did you get that signed this year's?
Yes. Right. It was my first Lego convention.
Oh, really? Right. Okay. Well, I came in to ask you this because obviously I was tuning into the community, and you're one of the guys who I've kind of been following for a while.
Yeah.
And I saw, so your coverage, if you like, and you went with your dad. That's right, isn't it?
Correct.
So I saw some of your coverage of it, and I remember you, like, I don't know whether it was it must have been in one of your podcasts, but you were talking to somebody, and I remember you mentioning that you'd had, I don't think you said you had a bad experience, but you'd said that you'd had like a run-in with somebody, or there was somebody who was a bit rude or a bit nasty to you or something like that.
Yeah, there were like three people. One was just a fan, and then one was an Instagrammer, and one was a YouTuber. I'll leave it at that. And
right.
Yeah.
So that was like what, the casting hate or saying something, or was there physical or what?
No, not at all. No, just some like gatekeeping, if you will. I think is the best way to explain it.
Right. Okay. Well, you might have to tell me privately, mate, so I know who to avoid in future.
Yeah.
Because
I can.
I know, obviously, you don't want to be sort of talking about these things, and it's a positive community, so I can understand us not wanting to spread negativity.
Yeah.
But that's what I will say is they didn't hold back. So
yeah, no, the way that I approached it, like while telling the community, was like, yeah, I experienced this, but I never gave more details, just so like I don't ruin those people's reputation. But I still thought that it was valuable to let people know that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and there are a few dilemmas and a few problems here and there, but overall it's very good, a very good experience.
Well, it was nice to hear. It was not nice to hear, obviously. It was negative. It wasn't good to hear, because I've been thinking about it since you mentioned it, and I don't want you to say anything you're not comfortable saying. But it does kind of, it's nice that you've given a balanced view, and you're not just like, yeah, it's amazing, and and that wasn't enough to put me off. Don't get me wrong, but it did make me think. Right, okay, there's obviously some, because I've seen it in comments I've seen like I've tuned into a YouTuber and I've thought, right, this isn't something I'll probably watch again. And I think that to myself. I won't say that openly, and I certainly won't name the people. But from watching a few minutes of it, I'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to watch this again for my own reasons. And I think that's fair to do because I've kept that opinion to myself, obviously until now. But I'm not saying who it is. But then when I read the comments, people are actively bagging on this person. I think is the term you guys would use, bagging on this person and actively saying, you know, your setup is this, your mic is this, or whatever. And I'm like, what? And I've defended these people, even though I'm like probably thinking the same thing. But just because I'm like, you know, I'm no expert and I didn't have a great setup or whatever to start with. I don't think that's what it's about. It's about your content, you know? And I'm just thinking, I've said, look, leave the guy alone. He's having a go. He's doing what he loves. And in most cases, these people don't even have any, you know, a platform themselves. So it's almost like they're just viewers and they just thought that he should be better. And it's like, you know, YouTube, social media, to me, it's like window shopping. You know, if you don't like what you see, move on. There's no reason to stand in the window and look at that suit and go, I don't like that suit, and shout at the glass and throw a tomato at the glass. It changes nothing about the suit. If you're not interested in it, move on. Find something you do want to wear or you do want to buy. You know, it's a strange analogy, I guess, but I just don't understand that thing of I'm driven so hard by how much I disappointed or dislike this piece of content that I've got to go into the comments and make a comment. And they don't realize that the way that these algorithms work is that you're actually helping that person out.
Yeah, you really are.
Making a comment.
Like
and just being negative.
Brickhive always says, I don't know if you know Brickhive.
I do know a Brickhive, yeah.
Okay. Brickhive always says, you know, it's like, I love the trolls because they give me engagement.
I know, but I mean, just thinking,
I'm gonna feed those trolls.
I just don't get it. I just thinking, you know, if you don't like it, move on. You don't. Nobody cares that you're not happy with what you see. Just scroll on by. That's the whole point of it, you know.
Yeah,
so
that's the whole point of the internet. You don't have to like everything.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've spent time, sort of, what do you call it? A bit of a keyboard warrior about certain things, but that is in debate about a product, about a thing. So, you know, when I was really got into the Star Wars community on social media, which I'm kind of taking myself away from now. You know, decisions were made about certain films, and I would kind of be like, I think that's a great decision. And then people have kind of bombarded you saying, no, this is not what George Lucas wanted, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, actually, think about this and think about that. I'm trying to be, and they're just like bombarding you. And I just think, you know what? It's not worth it. But that's, you know, so I've done my fair share of that, but you know.
Oh no, do we have a sequel fan on hand? I'm just joking.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like 8 hours. I've been around. Yeah, Joel. So originally I was thinking of displaying. So I asked them if I was able to display and volunteer, because I think volunteering is something I'd probably be more interested in just because it kind of matches my work. And I do actually do volunteering as a steward in my own hometown, doing things like that. It's kind of up my avenue. So I wrote to them and said, look, if I was to get involved, could I? And they said, no, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to display and sort of volunteer because you would have to leave your displays there pretty much all day.
Oh man.
And they don't really like you to do that. So I haven't displayed, but I have got things I would and could display. But yeah, so no. And the other thing is, Joel's Bricks, and this is an interesting fact for anybody who might be interested in going to Cardiff Brickfest, is that we worked out last year that if you got tickets for Brickfest Cardiff, you could actually go into Cardiff Comic Con, which was being held next door, and get in there for free with your Lego ticket. But if you had tickets for Cardiff Comic Con, you couldn't get into the Lego Festival. So I'm not sure whether you discovered that, because myself and my daughter went last year and we got to basically experience both. There was Comic-Con ticket people trying to get into the Lego bit, and they were like, no. They were watching these other people go back and forth, and they were thinking they could do the same thing. So I thought that was quite interesting. Definitely worth the extra bit of money. So.
Oh, so you do pay extra?
Well, I say that. What I'm saying is that no, I didn't pay extra for that. But what I mean is that that was an extra thing worth paying for, if that makes sense. As in, like,
yeah.
that made the ticket price that much better, is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I should have said that, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
But no, sorry. So going back to what you were saying. So yeah, it's nice to see there's a balanced view, and there is some, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows, I think, is a terminology you use, which is kind of perfect.
Yeah.
So, but that is interesting, and I would be, I definitely, after speaking to you or seeing what you said about that, your experience with that, it's made me kind of be a bit more aware, go there being a bit more aware of kind of myself and other people. And, obviously, I think because we've got plans to do an episode of Cool Hang Luke from Brick World next year, that's the kind of plan that me and Whittaky have got, and possibly Slurpee as well, if he's going to be able to make it out there, then I think I'm going to be a little bit more cautious about how that goes, because the last thing I want is kind of people trying to bag on us or whatever these kind of people might want to try and do while we're there. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think that people will be bagging on you.
Yeah, sorry, that's probably not the best terminology, but just, I'm just going to be more aware of potential haters, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't like haters, like people who like saw my content and hated it. It was just people who, like, I don't know. One of them was just he I don't know what his deal was, but he was just kind of a big bully.
Yeah, I think that was what you said. You said bullying, and I was just thinking, I didn't like that at all. Not just in sort of defense of yourself, but also just, in general for anybody, just that wouldn't be okay. So, but anyway, I guess until I know more about it, then it kind of, I'm only kind of guessing as to what happened. I'm just kind of speculating, if you like. But yeah, it definitely is interesting to know that there is a kind of, there is a little bit of that going on in these events as well. So I'll be wary of that.
Yeah, I think the problem is that people don't. I think that the biggest issue with, I think the way that Lego conventions are talked about online, I think that the biggest issue is that the content creator experience is not the same as the fan experience.
Right.
And I think if you don't have a certain size of following, or like you're not that well known, you're going in as a fan.
Yeah.
And I think you have to expect that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And me and sort of Whittaky have kind of talked about that, and that we're sort of there to be sort of fanboying over representing, because obviously we'd planned to go and booked our tickets before my show even existed. Certainly in the version there is now. So, I mean, I'd always talked about doing something like that, but I'd never ever sort of, considered the fact that the two things were mutually exclusive. So to me, it's, I'm still going there as a influenced by ACOB and as a kind of member of the Girth gang who only exists in chat. So that's as far as I'm kind of seeing.
No, and you'll be good. You'll be good, because ACOB last year they had kind of their spot, so a lot of the time they're hanging out there late at night. So you'll be good.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. But yeah, so
any other tips?
So I guess one of them was just kind of teasing me, and the other two were more gatekeepers. I guess I'll leave it at that for now. But I guess any other tips you asked? I'm trying to think. I guess don't worry about waking up early. Your sleep schedule, you're probably gonna go to sleep at the time that you usually wake up sometimes.
Right.
You'll probably go to sleep anywhere in between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. probably. You may even be up all night. Who knows? So yeah, so I guess probably get a lot of rest beforehand and get plenty of rest afterwards, probably.
Well, I've been trying to convince Whittaky, so if he's watching this back on replay, then Whittaky, we still got an opportunity, mate. We've still got an opportunity to go a little bit earlier and stay a little bit later after, because he wants to go, and I was in agreement with him originally, so I'm not going to take much away from him, but he wanted to go on the Tuesday, so we were there ready for the Wednesday. Fine. And then he wants to go back on the Sunday. And I'm thinking, and for us, I think we worked out that it was like, I don't know how many hours of travel. I think we worked out, all told, from the time we leave there, considering the fact that we'll have been there for a full day on the Sunday, or for the majority of a day on the Sunday. I think it's like something like 18 hours of travel or something stupid like that. So I don't know. I'm kind of don't really like the idea of doing that. So I would have liked to have gone back like maybe Monday. But Padawan is flying in on the Saturday. I think he's going in, and he's going back on like the Monday. I don't necessarily want to go in that early. It seems a bit too excessive to me. But and I would have liked to have gone like maybe Monday, so that we got some rest time and chill out time before.
Well, yeah.
So we've spoken to Ostiff, who's going to come and pick us up from the airport.
Oh, cool.
And those guys are getting they've got the hotel, the Rennie, I think, from like the Monday. So they're going to get a cheap hotel for the sort of 2 days they're there before. But I said to Martin, I said, as long as they can drive us to a motel, a cheap motel, we can stay somewhere else and rest up the night before and then go over to the Rennie. I don't know. But because we haven't booked our flights yet, we've still got options, if you like. So, but you're right. Now that you say that as well, it's kind of like, I'm dreading the idea of, because I don't do well on very minimal sleep. I really don't. So. So what about your dad? So was he the same? Was he staying up with you, or were you just kind of riding with the boys and then kind of seeing him back in the room, or?
No, he was usually. I was just usually riding. I was just usually hanging out with the boys, and then I'd usually go up to the room. Well, it depended on the night. Like, I know, Saturday. Saturday night and Thursday night, I think I was hanging out with the boys late, and then on Thursday night, I think that I went to hang out with some other people after the boys went to sleep at the lobby. And Friday night, I think I went to bed earlier, I think. Same thing as Wednesday night. And so and Tuesday night as well. Yeah. So I arrived on Tuesday and went back home on Sunday. So I didn't stay till the very end, if you want to get technical.
Right. Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. But it'd be nice to meet up with you guys. Obviously yourself and some of the other guys who I've spoken to are probably in a bit more detail, if you like, or than some of the other people. But
I'd love to. But this is the point where I have to be honest, and I have to say I don't know if I'm coming because
really?
Because it's so expensive. I'd love to go, and I'd love to meet you. Like, again, a bunch of people. Now that I hear the UK boys are coming, I'm like, dang, I really wish that I could go, and I might still be able to go. And then the other ones are like, I know Hive is going this year, and some other people, like I think TJ and Abrelaya will probably be able to go this year. A lot of people that I didn't get to meet last year. So that would be cool to meet, but I don't know. It's expensive, so I may or may not go. I'm still not sure.
Oh, that'd be disappointing, because I think you were one of the people who was on my list of like, I'm going to fanboy and get an autograph off Oaktown Bricks, like kind of thing. You. But no, I mean, look, obviously, if you can get there, it'd be great to meet you. But I think it is what it is. It is an expensive thing, I guess. And not only that, but obviously, you'd have to try and if you haven't booked it now, I'm guessing because I think the Rennie's sold out now, isn't it? So
yeah, but the Rennie's really expensive, though. Like really expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got nothing to compare it to, but most trips that I have in America, I mean, I've usually paid more for like 1 or 2 nights than I paid for near enough the whole week there. So for me, it seemed quite cheap.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it worked out about. So far, I think we've paid about £400, and that's the ticket and the hotel.
For £100 for how much?
400 for
for all of the nights.
Yeah, it works out about. I think it's about £440. It's worked out so far.
Wow.
For the tickets and the hotel for the week, or not for the week, for the 5 nights.
Wow, that's a lot, because my dad, I think he paid way more, but we reserved it a little bit later than you guys, but still, we still reserved it.
From what I can see, it does go up sort of as the year goes by, but I think last year they didn't it launched about November-ish time, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was this time. I think it's maybe because it's earlier that it's cheaper. I don't know, because I have never booked it before. I got nothing to compare it to. But I mean, even the tickets for the convention were like really. I mean, I was thinking it was going to be closer to sort of what do you call it, Star Wars. Oh Christ, what's the Star Wars convention called?
Star Wars Celebration.
Celebration. Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be closer to those kind of prices, but it wasn't even close. It was like, I think that for us, the ticket price was like £120 for all 5 days, and it was just like that's like next to nothing, you know. So
Yeah, no. The convention price is cheap to me. That's not what it seems expensive. It's the room for me that always felt expensive.
No,
But I don't
well,
know.
yeah.
I guess not for you since you reserved this early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe it's to do with that. Like I said, but even if I'm just comparing it to sort of the prices we've paid for hotels when we've stayed in like New York, San Francisco, that kind of thing. I mean, obviously they're in bigger areas that are probably a lot more, busier areas, but you're talking like $200-300 a night kind of thing, and it's like, yeah. So this just seemed really good for that. Because even when I told my fiance and I said, "Oh, this is how much," and she's like, "What, per night?" And I was like, "No, that's the whole thing." She was like, "What? No way is it that cheap." She was like, "All right, if we ever go to Chicago, we'll stay in there." And I said, "Yeah, but I think this is kind of, it's only convenient because it's connected to it's where the thingy's been held." I said, "But if we were going to Chicago to sort of stay for like a holiday, I don't think we'd want to stay there, and it might not be that cheap either when you book it through any other avenue." So
yeah, because with Chicago's not that close to Brickworld. It's like 45 minutes away from Brickworld. Downtown Chicago's like 45 minutes away from the convention.
Yeah, that's what I said. So I think she's kind of got the idea that that's just the general price of Chicago hotels, and I was like, no, I think this is just a kind of a Brickworld thing for a start, and also it's nowhere near Chicago City. So yeah.
Yeah, no. Although the city of Chicago, I've heard, tends to be a lot cheaper than most American cities. Like, it's significantly cheaper than LA and New York City, from what I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's cool though. So you've been to San Francisco then?
Yeah, I've been to, as it happens, I've been to quite a lot of areas in. When I was walking home from work earlier, and I was thinking about the fact that you're from so Oaktown is like a nickname for Oakland, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
That's
occasionally.
kind of what I gathered, because I didn't realize that. I
Yeah.
mean, I've heard of Oakland before, and because obviously is
Well,
that where
it's not really
the
used. Oaktown is not really like a commonly used nickname. It's
yeah,
just
but
something that I came up with for my name, and you do see it a few places in Oakland, but it's not like a common nickname.
yeah, well, it's a bit like Llanelli, the place I'm from, or the place I live now. Sorry, is the nickname for this place is Tin Town. And the reason they call it that is because we had a big tin plates works here years ago,
Wow.
during the kind of that era, if you like, the tin era. But yeah, but it's not, we don't use it. I don't say I'm from Tin Town. It's just a kind of, so I think it's the same, because when I looked up Oakland and Oaktown, I think it was when I was sharing one of your posts, and I kind of tried to find some music that mentioned Oaktown, and I realized there's quite a few, and there's quite a few rappers who are from that area. I'm just trying to think.
I know Too Short.
Too Short, yeah, Too Short.
Yeah.
So he refers to Oaktown quite a lot in his thing.
And also MC Hammer as well.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay, so there you go. And I think it was like they seem to be connected to the Raiders. So were they from Oakland originally then? No.
Yeah, no. So,
or did they reside in Oakland?
The tragedy of Oakland. So here we go. I have a tale to tell.
Okay, go.
So the tragedy is that the city of Oakland has lost 3 sports teams in the time span of less than 10 years.
Wow.
So, so the Raiders used to play here. Now they play in LA.
Right.
And that was like 5 years ago that they moved. Same thing as for the Warriors. They used to play in Oakland. Now they play in San Francisco. And then now the Ace, the baseball team. Now they're still in Oakland, but they're gonna move to Sacramento. Actually, did they already move? They might have moved already. But then after Sacramento, they're just gonna play there a few years, and then they're gonna move to Las Vegas, just like the Raiders.
Right.
And I think that Las Vegas is trying to create an NBA team as well,
Right.
just so they can have an NBA team.
So if the Raiders move to Las Vegas, surely they won't be an LA team anymore. They'd be a Nevada team, right? How does that work?
Well, they were never LA. Well, they were in LA way back when, but
I see. Right.
so the Raiders were originally in Oakland, then they moved to LA, then back to Oakland, and then now Las Vegas.
But I thought they were always known as the LA Raiders, even since years ago.
No, they were only in LA for like 10, 11 years, maybe 12.
Right. Okay.
So yeah,
Well,
so
that just
like
goes to show.
I think they were in Oakland. So the NFL started in like 1966. So the Raiders were in Oakland from 66 to like 82, 83, I think, and then from like 82, 83 to like 94, 95, I think they were in LA, and then back to Oakland, and then now Las Vegas. Like 5 years ago, they moved.
So this is where my geography, I guess, plays up, because I always thought that Oakland was part of Greater Los Angeles.
It's part of Greater San Francisco.
Oh, right. Okay, that's where I'm going wrong then. Okay, so back to your question. Yes, I've been to California plenty of times, and I've been to Los Angeles, specifically Anaheim area, a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, and I've been to San Francisco. I only spent 6 days in San Francisco, but I pretty much did everything that could be seen in San Francisco. So I mean, it's a busy city, but it's not really a very, what I found about it, it wasn't particularly, what do you call it? There's not a lot of people visiting there. What's the word? I can't think of the word, but it's
abandoned.
No,
Empty?
I thought it was a beautiful city,
Deserted?
but it was a long time ago. It was about 15 years ago we went, and it was a heat wave on at the time. And we were like, wow, look at this weather. And the people were like, no, this is unusual for us even. But what I'm saying is it's not very like when you go to New York, you see a lot of people who are visiting. So I can't think of what the bloody word is. It's
Touristy.
Not, tourist, yeah. It's not sort of touristy. So San Francisco just seemed like, I felt like we were the only people who weren't from there kind of thing. And but anyway, we got to see everything that, we walked right across the Golden Gate Bridge and back again. We walked as far as sort of Marin County and back again. We went to Alcatraz. We did pretty much everything there was to see. Got to go to Castro as well, see where the sort of gay rights movement started, that kind of thing, and see the kind of giant, what was the biggest pride flag in the world at the time, that kind of thing. Fantastic. But really, my heart was in Anaheim, Los Angeles, because I just really love that area. So we've spent, we've done everything in sort of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, all that kind of thing. Done Venice Beach a couple of times. Yeah, and just Santa Monica Pier, and all that kind of area as well. Just the kind of the touristy type spots. But yeah, whenever I get a chance to go out to LA, that's probably the place I'd pick. But I haven't had a chance to explore Greater Los Angeles. So I mean, I don't think there's the kind of places you'd explore. Like you wouldn't go, shooting off to sort of Compton or Long Beach and places like that and kind of walk around. But
yeah, you don't want to go to Compton or Long Beach.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So those kind of places are kind of like, yeah, exactly. So like West Side Connection, so sort of places, but Westwood Ho, that kind of stuff. So, but no, never explored any of that, and I probably never will. But I do like Los Angeles, as of all the cities in America that I've visited, definitely I think that's probably my favorite one. So.
Did you guys go to Disneyland when you guys went to Anaheim?
Yes. Yeah, but my fiance and I actually prefer, she's only been once, but she prefers, I say she prefers, she's never been to Florida, and I have been there several times, but I feel like from what I've told her and from what she's seen and other people's accounts, I think we prefer Disneyland to Disney World, just because it's, again, a little bit less touristy. I mean, everybody there is effectively a tourist, but I just feel like it's where the Americans go to experience Disney, as opposed to like every other country in the world goes to Disney World, if that makes sense. So,
Really?
So what I preferred it, and from what I've told her and what she's gathered, she thinks she probably prefer that as well. We will go to Disney World one day when my daughter's a bit older, but I think for me, yeah, Disneyland is so much better. It's just got that. I don't know. I just prefer the vibe there. I don't know where it's hard to
Really?
put a finger on it, but
Even though it's a lot smaller?
yeah, it is a lot smaller, but it's easier to get around. And the thing is, when with a holiday like that, we stayed in a place called Best Western Stovals, which is literally across the road from there. It wasn't particularly expensive, but it was a really nice hotel and had a pool. So we could go to the parks one day. We could go and see a baseball game the next day. We could go shopping. We could spend some time at the pool. We could go to Universal City and Universal Studios there. We went to Six Flags. So it's not just so there is parks there, not as many as there would be in Disney World, and nowhere near as big. But there's also certainly because we went as adults, rather than spending all day every day in a park, it was nice to be able to just have a day where we could just spend some time at the pool. And the place we were staying is the pool wasn't kind of managed, if you like, so we could kind of go and grab some beers from the local 7-Eleven or wherever. Take them down to the pool and just relax there. And also the hotel we were staying in the evening, they had like a hot tub, jacuzzi type thing. And in the evening, they'd have like a screen that would come down and you could actually watch, and they'd play Disney movies. So we were, I can't remember what Disney movie it was, but we were sat in a hot tub drinking cold beers, watching a Disney movie in our hotel. And it was fantastic. And literally in the background, then behind us, the firework display or whatever is going off in the Disney park,
Wow.
which we could kind of
That's
see.
cool.
And it was just like, but you don't really get that in Florida so much. They do have the water parks there, which they don't have in LA. So you could kind of do that there. But yeah, for me, it was a nice mixture of kind of relaxing holiday and activity Disney park holiday. Whereas in Florida, like I told my girlfriend, if we go for 2 weeks, if you want to do everything, you've literally got to be up, walking and on the move for like 18 hours a day to be able to pack everything in because it's just so much, So how about yourself? Have you had a chance to go to both parks or?
Only Disneyland one time 10 years ago, but never Disney World. And you went to Six Flags Magic Mountain?
Yeah.
See, I've never been there. I've been to Universal Studios like 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
but never been to Magic Mountain.
Wow, that's kind of sacrilegious that you live that close. I mean, you're probably not close, but that close compared to me, and don't go. So
it's the closest one to me. It's closer than Universal Studios and
oh, really?
Disney because of the way that we come. So like
Right.
it's probably like 15 minutes to half an hour closer to me than Universal Studios, and then Disneyland is still like another hour because you have to cross LA for me.
Right.
Whereas when we go to Universal Studios, we don't have to cross LA. Like we don't have to cross downtown LA. Just just the little area before.
Well, the Universal Studios in LA is a million times better than the one in Florida. Million times better.
Why?
And that one's split into 2 parks. You've got Island Adventure and Universal. Now, when I first went in like the mid-90s, there was only 1 park, but they've expanded that to 2 parks now. And even with both those parks taken into account, the one in Universal which is the original and is actually it's actually classed as a city. It's got its own like pharmacy, its own fire station, everything. The one in Los Angeles, and it's a real backlot. So films are actually made there, whereas the other one is just a theme park. But it's a million times better, so much better. It's better spread out. It's better designed. It's on several different levels. It's so much better. But in fairness, I went to the one in Universal in LA. The last time I went was probably about 10 years ago now, and the Universal in Florida probably about 15 years ago now. So it's definitely not an up-to-date version. So
yeah. Oh, it's funny because I've never been to Florida and to any of those parks.
Yeah, to me personally, I think it's a bit overrated. I mean, if you go in with a family, so like I said, when my daughter's a little bit older, I mean, she's old enough to enjoy it now, but she's still only 11, but she's nearly sort of 6 foot tall. She's like a string bean. So
wow.
So she's probably already big enough to get on all the rides and stuff. But I just really want to, I want to wait till she's kind of like a teenager, maybe sort of mid-teens, and we're probably going to go then and make a huge family holiday kind of thing of it. But unless you're doing that, like when me and my partner went and we were talking about, should we go to LA, should we go to Florida? And I was the only person who'd been to both at that point. So I was just like, look, let's go to LA. I said, it's a lot more relaxed and a calm and a kind of, you can enjoy yourself environment and you can explore the parks without having to be like zoom, 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 Q all day. And yeah, she enjoyed it. And again, like I said, we will go to Florida one day, but I think for me personally, that was what it was about. And again, I think we've gone so far off the topic of Lego.
No, it's all good.
I'm just worried that any of your sort of followers are tuning in and going, we're talking about Disney parks. Let's hear about the Lego.
Yeah, any of you guys still here? You guys are the real ones. But anyways, Ostif Sprick says, "Howdy boys, what's up, Ostif?" And then he also says, "UK boys comes to America." Yep. It was nice to meet you at Chicago, Ostif.
Yeah, looking forward to meeting Ostif as well. And he's such a gracious guy. I mean, he's offered to come and pick us up. And look, if he turns around the day before we arrive and says, look, I can't come and pick you up from the airport, wouldn't think any less of the guy because nobody kind of expected it in the first place. He's going out of his way. And we all always thought we would have to make our own way there anyway. So really appreciate Ostif for that offer. And obviously, if it does end up coming to fruition and he does pick us up and help us out in that way, fantastic. If not, no pressure. But yeah, really appreciate it. And
so he's going to pick you up from the airport, you think?
Yeah. And considering he's never really met us, that's quite a, I don't know. Like I was speaking to my fiance about it and she was saying, like, these people don't even know you're staying in a room with a guy you've never met.
Who are you sharing a room with?
I'm sharing a room with Whittaky and possibly Slurpee. So we've got a 3-bedroom room, but Slurpee doesn't know whether he's going to be able to make it. And if he does, it won't be for the full amount of time.
Come on, Slurpee.
So we want Slurpee to come. So Slurpee, if you're watching this, get it.
Yeah, make sure to come. It's worth it. It's worth it.
We've got to get the full Cool Hand crew out there. We need to call ourselves something else because it seems I seem like blowing smoke up my ass when I talk about the live stream that's got my name. We need to find another name. So anybody out there got an idea for a name for that the fortnightly thing that I do, then I'm all ears. But yeah, if we can get Slurpee out there, it'd be great. But my fiance was saying, like, oh, you're sharing a room with people who don't know. You've got a strange guy that you've never met coming to pick you up from the airport. You're hanging out with these people you don't know. And I'm like, I'm an adult. I don't worry about things like that. I meet people I don't know every day and have conversations with them. That's part of my job. I said, so I ain't worried about any of that stuff. But it did kind of start worrying me because I think she said, you could be sharing a room with an axe murderer. So I told Whittaky that. So he makes
with a what?
To an axe murderer.
What's that?
No, an axe murderer.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
I don't want to make too bit of a big thing of that on a YouTube channel. But she said, you don't know who you could be sharing a room with. Like, yeah, and I was just like, this is the things I do for Lego.
Crimson says, America, fudge ye guns at McDonald's.
What?
And then Ostis Brick says, never been to Disney, but I've been to Florida a crap ton. You too, Oaktown. Oh, thank you, Ostif. Cool Han. Oh, and then he says, Cool Han. No. Why does that? Oh, shoot. Okay. Cool Han, I'm picking you up, guaranteed, babes. Aw, cool.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Tell Mrs. Cool Han you're in good hands.
Yeah, I'm in cool hands.
It is Friday the 13th. He.
Not for me. Not for me.
Good point.
But that's strange that Ostif has been to Florida, but not actually been to Disney. That's kind of strange. Although saying that, I went twice and didn't go to any Disney parks. I did go to other parks, but I didn't go to the Disney parks on 2 occasions. And I went there, so.
But you'd say from what I could tell, the difference between Universal Studios in LA, you think is much better?
Yes, it's much better.
Disneyland also much better, or only somewhat better?
It's hard to say because there's more parks. So if you're comparing park to park. So Magic Kingdom, and then let's put California Adventure versus, I don't even know. Let's pitch California Adventure against I don't even know what it's called anymore. Mickey Studios or MGM Studios used to be called when I went there. Then yes, the parks are better in Florida, but only because they're bigger, so it's more fleshed out. So it's like comparing a UCS Falcon to a Playscape Falcon. You know what I mean? Yes, but when it's bigger and it costs more, then it's going to be better. So it's not a true likeness. So it's hard to compare like that, and that's the reason why the Universal is better, because it's bigger. I think it's more expensive and it's more fleshed out, so there's more space, and it doesn't feel as busy because it's so spread out. I mean, because you've been there, but it's kind of it takes up it's spread over a large estate, if you like. So it doesn't feel as busy. So it felt like you kind of had free range of the place. So I got to ask you this about Crimson Toaster, because I know you guys are a little bit closer, but
Yeah.
I don't often understand his messages. He came onto one of our streams, or one of the streams that we do, and he made a couple of comments, which really great that he could make it, and I really enjoyed having him there. But I think I couldn't quite work out what he was trying to say, so I kind of asked him, and he never really clarified. So I don't know whether it's just the way he types or what, but it's like, is he from America?
Yeah, no, he is. He just talks silly. That's it. It's just kind of a silly way.
Fudgy games. Okay, yeah. Because I think he was thinking when he was in our chat, he was trying to. I think he was suggesting that he wanted to sort of join and wants to come along. And I said to him, "Look, I'm happy to have you on as a guest." But he was kind of. I think he was looking to join the panel, in the last sort of 15 minutes. At least that's right. That's where I gathered. I don't know. So if you're still out there, Crimson, let me know, mate. Hit me up on Instagram, and we can work out a time for you to come and join us on the on the stream. Oh, he's moving outdoors.
Yeah, just because. Is the audio quality worse?
It's actually slightly better.
Really?
Yeah, I think this because there's not so much of an echo.
Oh.
Which I've probably got one because I'm in a little room. So.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, it's good. What's the weather like there now?
It's pretty nice. It's like 80. Well, actually, it's a little bit hot today, but it's like right now it might be 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
And it's not nearly 7. It's nearly 7 p.m. and it's that nice.
Yeah. Weather here in California in general is nice.
Yeah, I get it. I'm jealous.
Yeah,
because we didn't even get a summer in the UK, or certainly not in Wales this year.
Really?
It was literally, we had a couple of really nice hot days, but it was kind of surrounded by 3 or 4 rainy days. So, sadly.
Austin Burke says, "Boys, I have to get back into the lab and run some samples and draw some samples too. Y'all enjoy. I'll catch the rest here soon." Well,
a tease. What are you working on? What are you working on, mate?
Yeah, no, seriously, what are you working on, man? What are you cooking up, man? But yeah, well, we'll see you later, Ostif. Thank you for all the support. Didn't Ostif start uploading on YouTube?
Possibly. I know that he recently changed his symbol. Well, actually, he changed it twice. Oh, he's a lab specialist. Oh, okay.
Wow. I'm a blood lab specialist. Wow.
Okay, so he meant it literally.
Yeah.
So I thought he was like Dr. Dre, and he was going back in the mixing studio to cook something up, but he actually meant he's literally going back into the laboratory, or laboratory, or whatever you guys call it. So, good luck with your work, then, mate. And yeah, hopefully he's not going to be harvesting my blood when I go over to Chicago.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lego. Let's talk about some Lego.
Well, yeah, let's talk about some Lego Star Wars, or just Lego in general. But yeah, well, let me think. So, what do you think is the state of Lego? Well, first of all, I think this is pretty clear. But your favorite Lego theme is Lego Star Wars, right?
And the only other theme I've dabbled
Mhm.
in terms of bought a set to display, is Tron. They brought out one set, and I'm a huge Tron fan.
Really? I've never seen Tron.
Yeah, it's not the best movie in the world, but it's a culturally relevant movie, I think. So it's kind of one of these movies that when it was in the cinema, people were like, "What the hell is this?" And it got panned, and then years later, people started sort of showing it some love, kind of like Jar Jar Binks type thing, where it was like years later before people started realizing it was actually good. And
So you
I
like
like.
Jar Jar Binks?
No, I mean, like, I don't mean Jar Jar Binks. I mean the guy who played Jar Jar Binks, where he was kind of,
Okay.
bullied mercilessly and all the rest of it. And
Yeah,
then years
yeah.
later, now everybody loves him. So I think that movie was a bit like that. It's a bit like, Beetlejuice and Goonies and movies like that, that when they were out, they weren't particularly big. They weren't particularly popular. It was only years later when they sort of, Beetlejuice is kind of connected to this kind of Halloween type thing now. So it's like, and it's just, it's culturally, it's not a great movie. When you actually watch the original movie, it's kind of really like, I don't know. It's just, there's something about it that makes it really good. So I think Tron was one of those movies, a science fiction movie that people were like, what the hell is this? But years later, it's got a lot of respect. So
Yeah.
anyway, they released the set, but the set was based on the second Tron movie. So I bought it. It's bagged up with all my other sets, unfortunately, but it is the one set that I have had on display. So,
Really?
so yeah. But other than that, no, Star Wars all the way.
So do you like Tron more than Star Wars?
No, not at all. But I will say that if they brought out more sets, I'd probably be tempted to buy some more sets. But I'm kind of thankful that they didn't, because but I definitely wouldn't, even if they brought out 10 sets and I might buy those sets, I still think that my allegiance is to Star Wars, because my love for Star Wars goes back probably as far as my love for Lego. Although they weren't always mutually exclusive, because obviously there was no Lego sets then.
Yeah.
I've been watching Star Wars since, as long as I can remember. I remember being at my grandmother's house and watching them on something that was around before VHS was kind of the big thing. It's called Betamax. It's another story.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching them at my nan's house or my grandmother's house, from the age of about 4 or 5 years old. And at that point, they wouldn't have all been released because Jedi was in the cinema around about the time I was 4 or 5. So,
well, 3. It was 1983.
there you go. So I would have been about 3. So by the time I was watching it at sort of 4 or 5, it might not have even been available because it didn't come out. They didn't come out that quick then. So years later.
With Return of the Jedi, did you watch it in the movie theater or not?
I didn't. No. I probably was a bit too young to take to the cinema.
Yeah.
And I didn't sit still for very long.
Yeah.
Same
Good
now.
point. You still don't? You said?
No, I'm still a bit like that now, to be honest with you. I can. I'm a bit of a fidget. So
yeah, me too.
So I think my parents probably would have been like, we're not taking him to the cinema. But yeah, I mean, they were, whenever we had the videos, they'd be on all the time. I'm watching them over my nan's house. It was amazing. So, and that's like my earliest memory of Star Wars, is watching it at my nan's house.
Sorry, I guess that I had some connection issues. Why isn't this door opening?
Papa Rex is saying my brother still has the family Betamax player. Yeah, so I wasn't sure whether Betamax was a thing over in the US at all. I'm guessing it probably was, because it's a worldwide thing. And I still don't
It's funny
actually know
because I think I heard you talk about Betamax on your live stream.
yeah. It's a kind of it's definitely not an interesting story, but I don't think I still don't really know where Papa Rex is from. But
yeah, he said West Coast US, but where in the West Coast, Papa Rex?
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, some people don't like to sort of share too much information.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of people, like Papa Rex always appears in near enough everything I watch. He appears in there, but doesn't say too much. Oh, Washington State. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that gives a lot more of a description. That's cool.
So that's the Northwest, isn't it? Pacific Northwest. So, okay. So he's a lot.
Duck
That's a lot
Bricks.
colder up there.
Yeah. Duck Bricks
Probably-
is from there.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah, it's probably closer to the weather we get here, I guess. Because from what I gather up in sort of that Seattle area, it's kind of rains quite a lot. So
Yeah.
So so your brother's still got a Betamax. Yeah, they're really hard to get hold of now. And I think I've got the original Star Wars movies on Betamax somewhere. I'm pretty sure when my nan died and they cleared the house out, I got given them. Although I might be wrong, I can't remember. Maybe that was just a dream. But yeah, so Betamax, it's kind of a boring story and doesn't really make any difference. But to this chat, but yeah.
Yeah, watch Cool Hang Luke episode number 2, I think, if you want to hear more on that.
Oh wow, obviously know more than me, but yeah.
So
I will do a quick shameless plug now for the people who are watching. So every fortnight, and we are looking to upgrade it to weekly, hopefully by about episode 10. But we're about to do episode 5, and we do a fortnightly show similar to what Oaktown does. But there's a cast of people who do the who are the co-hosts. So it's myself, Whittaky, and Slurpee, and yeah, we just talk about Lego, and the Lego is the underlying theme. So is Star Wars, but we do try to broaden it out to different things. So if you notice from the thumbnails, and obviously hit me up over on YouTube, Cool Hand Luke Bricks, I always try to add things that aren't Star Wars related as best I can into that thumbnail as well to try and bring other people in. So we're going to be talking about a few things. We always have a nice variety of topics, and I try to get the chat and the people watching as interactive as possible by sort of getting them to suggest topics or ideas or discussion topics, whatever. And yeah, it's just the whole idea of the Cool Hand Luke thing. For anybody who's never seen the movie, it's just an opportunity to mash it up a little bit and to have another theme. So, but yeah, it's Cool Hang Luke, and the reason I call it that is because obviously play on words, but it's because we're just hanging out, chatting, just like me and Oaktown are doing right now, just hanging out, just chatting. But we try to have a different guest every week. But I will say that there's one guest out there who I've wanted on that show since before the show was a show. And that one guest has remained so elusive that I haven't been able to get him on. And he was supposed to be the first guest, and yet episode 5 in, and we still haven't got him lined up for a show. Do you know who that person is?
Me?
Yeah. So, because I remember talking to you about it when I kind of had the idea. And
I remember that too. But I don't think you ever reached out for me for the early episodes.
Did I not?
No, I think, well, not for episode 1 and 2.
That might be right, but because I think that was because we weren't planning on having a guest, and that was more of the first 2 episodes, if I'm honest, were more of a test. So Whittaky wanted to be a co-host with me, and obviously there was no reason why the co-hosts were UK based other than the fact that it fitted into our time zone a lot better. But also, yes, we wanted to be a co-host, and then our first ever guest was Slurpee, but Slurpee had already, I can't remember exactly what happened. It was not exactly years ago, but I can't remember what happened, but there was something along the lines of Slurpee had basically said that he would like to kind of join us. And so he was kind of like our first official guest, but also a host, if you like. But I think he just wanted to test the water to see if he was comfortable with it first. So yeah, and the way I see it is he's a co-host. The 3 of us are co-hosts, So we, the 3 of us sit around a round table, so there's no like head. It just happens to be on my channel, but I obviously run the StreamYard, but that's just because one person has to. But I'm trying to get those guys a bit more involved, and hope the day will come where I can't do the stream, and hopefully they'll do it in my absence. But in terms of guests, yeah, I think we didn't really get guests until episode 3 when we had PNG. But I reached out you for that one though, right? I think that was the first one.
And I couldn't. I couldn't, but then I forgot to tell you about Labor Day, because Labor Day was this past Monday.
Yeah, and I found out afterwards that it was a national holiday, which So obviously, we don't think of things like that necessarily, but we will get you on the show, mate.
Yeah, I told you November 11th because that's Veterans Day and I have a day off that day.
Yeah, and I think I was working it out as well. I might be wrong. No, I think I am wrong. I'm pretty sure that's going to be episode 10. I remember looking at it.
So I have a question. Why don't you guys do it weekly?
Okay, so the main reason we don't do it weekly is because I wasn't able to commit to weekly, and I probably still aren't because the shifts I do in work, basically, if I was doing a later shift in work, I wouldn't get home until about 9 o'clock. But I don't offer, at that point, I was doing that shift at least every other week on a Monday. Now that's not the case. I could probably, I can do pretty much any shift that I like, which has always been the case because I'm the store manager. So I can, but it just happened to be the Monday. If I was doing a late shift, which I do try to do 1 or 2 a week, if I was doing a late shift, Monday would be the best day for me. So I don't even know why it transpired that it became a Monday that we did the stream. I think it was because there didn't seem to be any other YouTube content going on a Monday night. But yeah, so I'd like it to be weekly, but I think, starting off, I would just rather it. I was more committed to the idea of, and that doesn't work, it's a double commitment, but I was more focused around committing to something and having time to get it ready, get it sorted and organized, than kind of, because I feel like I don't get a chance to sort of decompress from the last one and start planning for the next one until like a week later. So because of like my work and my lifestyle or whatever, so for me to have to try and do that, all that I do within a week, even though it doesn't seem like there's a lot that goes on, especially if you've watched the stream, it's not like, where, all bells and whistles, far from it. But
it's not like ACOB, right? Where they have a lot of pre-set up stuff. And
yeah. I mean, those guys are effectively just kind of streaming from their room as well. So some people might argue that they don't either. But what I'm saying is that it's not like there's a lot that goes into it. But in terms of, planning it all out and organizing it, I think I wanted to just, at least to start with, I wanted to get a flow going, build up a community, build up some people who were going to come back, and then start, it's just that, I didn't want to try and do too much too soon, effectively, is probably the easiest answer. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So, but hopefully, yeah, by maybe in the new year, I think, when things have calmed down a little bit for me and I can get into a better flow, I think maybe in the new year in January we start doing a weekly episode. But it just depends on if that works for the other guys as well, because I'm conscious of the fact that I want to do what suits them and not be, I'm a boss all day, every day in my work. So I don't really want to be doing that as part of my hobby as well. So, like I said, it is very much a round table situation. But yeah, mate, honestly, we'll get you on at some point. Did you work, when you worked out November the 11th, did you work out, is that actually fortnightly or was that just the first Monday you're available? Does that work
first
out
Monday
fortnightly?
that's available.
Right, okay. So I just want to double check that is actually...
So what do you mean every fourth Monday?
No, every other Monday. Every other Monday.
Other.
So I'm doing one now on the 16th. So the next one would be, episode 6 will be the 30th of September. Whoops. Episode 7 will be the 14th of October.
So you're doing it you're doing it this upcoming Monday, right?
Yes.
And who's going to be your guest?
So this week's guest, or next week's guest, is Brick Sam. So he's on YouTube. He's quite, I wouldn't say quite, in comparison to me, he's a very big YouTuber because he's got like, more than 50 followers. But he's on like, I think, I'm not gonna spoil his following by getting it wrong, but he's got quite a few. He's been in the YouTube community for quite a while. He does like Lego reviews and stuff. But I think the thing that attracted to him is that he's like myself, and he believes in the organicness of, it's not like hyper edited. And I feel like he's one of those guys who could from what I can gather, he's got the ability to do that, but he just kind of films himself walking and just kind of, it's very kind of real, very, I like that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in the thing, so I don't want to steal my own thunder, but yeah, he's like a Lego dad as well. So he's got young kids. He's just had a baby. He's got a 6-month-old baby. So we're going to do a little bit of topic around what it's like being a Lego or an AFOL with a family or young children. And he's recently moved and bought a house and moved his Lego room across. So we're going to discuss that a little bit because that's something I've got experience in too. But yeah, we'll cover the usual stuff as well, pickups, that kind of thing. And last episode, we asked people to come up with a topic and we were going to pick one live and then discuss it. And we just got so carried away with our discussion that we didn't actually end up doing that. But all 3 topics that were picked by the guys are on the agenda for this for this next stream. And then we'll do the same then in this one. So if somebody picks out like a really great subject or topic, we'll discuss it on there and pick it out. But if not, any topic suggested will go on the next stream, if that makes sense. So yeah, episode 6 will be the 30th, episode 7 will be the 14th, episode 8 will be the 28th, which makes episode 9 the 11th of November. So it is a week that I would do an episode, so which is amazing. So, and it'll be episode 9. It would have been nice if it was 10, but I'd rather not wait another 2 weeks because we'll get you on there, mate.
Usually, I'd have. I think. Well, actually, yeah. I think usually I'd have 2 weeks from then off, but I don't because I'm in community college now and not high school. But they usually give us a week off for Thanksgiving over here because it's a big holiday over here. But
you get a week
for
off.
me, but not this year, not in community college. So I only have that Thursday and that Friday off, but not that Monday.
Right, okay. Yeah, I think I reached out to Will as well. I'd already spoken to him about jumping on the show before you had him on your show. Not to say that it was like first come first served or anything, but I'd already spoken to him about it. And then when I saw he was on your show, I mentioned to him again, said, look, do you want to jump on next week's show? And he was like, yeah, great, I can jump on. I'm going to be free. And I said, have you worked out the time difference? Because I don't actually know where he lives and I don't like asking people. So I said, have you worked out the time difference? He said, yeah, it's like so-and-so time. And I like, oh, great, okay. I said, so I assume then you're whatever. And he was like, no, I'm only 3 hours behind. And I was like, no, because I'm pretty sure he's East Coast. So I was like,
he's Central Coast, so he's only 2 hours ahead of me.
Ah, there you go. So basically, the time he worked out ended up being wrong. He thought where he was 3 hours behind me, and I was like,
it's
no,
6.
It's like 6 or whatever it was, 6 hours, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to be in school or college or whatever it was he was in. So yeah, so that fell through unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I've got a list of people out there who I've spoken to, reached out to, or they've reached out to me to be on the show. And, I'm not necessarily saving any people or kind of, keeping anybody in reserve. And there's no kind of priority list. It's not a case of, well, I want you first or I want you second or anything like that.
Yeah.
It is literally just a case of like, what can I put together? What can I think of that will really fit in? And there are some people I've got on the list who, without this kind of sounding, I don't want to blow smoke up anybody's backside, but there are people I've got on the list who are probably a little bit bigger time for me for this early on, if that makes sense. So I don't feel like I could do them their platform enough justice if I get them on this soon, if that makes sense. So, but yeah. So it'll be interesting.
Okay, that's cool. I'm not sure who you're talking about, but I think I know one of them. Because I
haven't got the ACOB boys lined up. I feel like
I wasn't thinking about them actually.
Yeah, somebody asked, I think, in one of the times, are you going to get the ACOB boys on one time? And I'm like, well, Sean answers everything that I message him with like one-word answers because he's obviously very busy. And Brent probably replies to me once every 3 months. So
yeah, Sean is much better at responding than Brent. I've definitely noticed that while DMing them.
So yeah, so I feel like at the moment, so like obviously they're busy guys, just the same as myself. So
Mhm.
I feel like at the moment, if I was to have them on the show at this point, I'm not saying that they would necessarily say no, but I feel like at this point I wouldn't be doing them justice. I feel like, they're probably a bit too big time to be appearing on my little sort of rinky dink podcasts,
No,
my
they're
rinky dink
not.
chat.
Believe it or not, they're not. Because I've had Sean on this podcast, but when it was on Twitch, so that episode got deleted and it can't be found
Ah,
anymore, unfortunately. Yeah,
oh
it
no.
was unfortunate because like my first 4 episodes they were on Twitch and now they're deleted. So it was TJ first, then Brickhive, then Amberlaya, and then Sean, but they're gone.
Oh no, that sucks.
Yeah, and then and then I brought it back over here on YouTube, and it was Mayo, then Shy, then Clever Pig, then Walter Limited, which I don't know where he's been because he hasn't posted in a while. Miss you, dude. But anyways, if you're
Yeah, I
listening,
think that was the first one I watched, I believe,
really,
Walter. As in, like, I watch live. I think I've watched most of yours, except for maybe the couple of recent ones, only because I've been so busy. But, um, but yeah, I watched. That was the one I was actually in the chat live with, and I kind of watched most of it. But yeah, yeah, you're right. I did see him around quite a bit, but then all of a sudden he kind of disappeared. So
yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
he's okay.
yeah, me too. And then I had Behind the Bricks on after that, and then after that, who was it after that? I think it was Crimson. It was Crimson then. Crimson Toaster number 47. Then the Jedi Brick, I think, and then Will Bricks Productions last week. No. Then Joel's Bricks. My bad. Joel's Bricks, who
Joel's
you
Bricks,
saw in
yeah.
the chat, and then Will Bricks Productions, and then now you. So there we go.
So what you said, episode like 47?
No. We're at episode 14.
14. All right. I thought you said 47 then for a bit. I was like, Jesus, that
No.
many
I was
people.
talking about Crimson. That's Crimson's number.
Oh, 47. Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so that's been the full lineup. And I think you've had PNG on, and then who else? Padawan, and that's it.
So we had PNG for episode 3, which was our first real sort of guest, proper guest. And then, yeah, do you know what? It feels like there's been a lot more than that, but I think it's because I did guest host on UK Boys, and I did the 72 hour with yourself on your live stream, and then I did on Padawan's channel. We did the ACOB step in, where we stepped in for ACOB when they couldn't on July 4th. We did that.
Yeah.
So because I've done so many now, it feels like, and they all feel the same to me. So obviously there's a little bit, this is a bit more relaxed for me. I enjoy this a bit more, just the chatting, which is probably why I'm a little bit more vocal, because I'm not like in control of anything. I'm having to press buttons and look at the screen and queue up videos and things like that. So I do prefer it, but yeah, it feels like I've done about 20 episodes already. So but yeah. So we've got Brick Sam for episode 5, and then I think, I don't know who's going to be after that, but there's a plethora of people lined up. And obviously, if you guys are out there, a quick shout out to anybody watching, whether this be on replay or live. If you'd like to be on the show, there is no limitation. There is no kind of, ooh, you need to be, or you need to be this or that. If you'd like to be on the show, hit me up on Instagram and we can get you lined up as a guest. To be honest, I want to get Ostif back on because
Was
he
he
did.
on which one?
Yeah, he was on the PNG one, but he wasn't meant to be on there. That sounds kind of awful, but I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean that I think I'd reached out to PNG, but I'd also reached out to I can't remember what happened. But long story short, is he'd offered to come on to talk about Brick World, and but PNG was like the guest that we kind of advertised, and last minute or short notice, Ostif said that he can kind of pop on and talk a little bit about it as well, which was like, yes, I didn't want to I didn't want to lose the opportunity to get him on because we were doing a Brick World hype stream and it was kind of an official one because we'd had the nod off Brick World and ACOB to do that hype stream, if you like. And Sean had even sent me kind of, not a list, but sent me a few things that he said that I absolutely have to cover if I was going to do it and just make sure that I get this message out, that kind of thing. But apart from that,
off.
Oh,
Now you're good. Now you're good. Oh no, you're freezing again.
that better?
Yeah, that's better.
But yeah, so apart from that, yeah, so he was in the chat, but he was like kind of sorry, he was on as a guest, but he was only on for like I think a quarter of the show. So I want to get him back on. So maybe when we're kind of want to do another Brick World, Brick World is kind of, I don't know, say 3 months away or 6 months away. It'd be nice to get him back on again. So, yeah. Oh, but yeah, I'd love to get anybody and everybody on. So anybody who's watching, even if, I don't know you, you don't follow me, I don't follow you, and we've never spoken, if you want to be on and you want to chat about Lego and you can mix it up with the UK boys or some of the UK boys, then you're more than welcome. So
yeah, same thing as on the Oaktown Bricks podcast. If anyone wants to come on, I'd be more than happy to, have you on as a guest.
I think I've come to the realization since joining this community that not everybody's comfortable with their face and being sort of, they're happy to just be a kind of like Papa Rex, for example. So he pops up everywhere, but I don't think I know what the guy looks like. I don't think he's ever visually appeared. And that's not to say he has to. Some people would rather stay, in that, which is fine. No problem at all. But sometimes these people just have never had the opportunity to do it, and that's why. So like Whittaky was a perfect example because he'd always said that he'd like to jump on. So when I had this idea of doing this show, I reached out to him first to say, would you want to co-host it with me? Because you've always said you want to do it. And for him, it was like, yeah, the opportunity to, and obviously we're helping each other because it's nice to have a co-host. It does make things a bit easier. But yeah, so Papa Rex, if you're still out there, I can see you were the last person in the chat. If you're still out there, mate, I'd love to get you on the show as well and you don't have to show your face. Because Slurpee joined and just had his icon. So it's not as exciting to see. But if you imagine this
does he always have his icon?
No, Slurpee, the last 2 episodes has been there in person. It was only that first episode or our second episode, but his first episode that he was on because I don't remember why exactly. But he didn't have... he didn't have his picture, so you can just have an icon. So like where we are now, because if you imagine when you watch the ACOB show, they used to have the Falcon on. The Falcon never showed his face, and those streams were just as fun to look at. I mean, obviously, if everybody was like that, it would be a bit boring. But so I'm a for having somebody on the show who's not happy to show their face, as long as we can hear your voice.
Papa Rex says I'm east of Duckworth, right? And then. Well, actually, no, I'll address it. ACOB, the house. Fun show, boys. What's up, ACOB? What's up, Sean?
Sean, ACOB, your ears must have been burning because we were just talking about you guys and it was all positive. So,
yeah. Papa Rex says, one of these days I'll go public. Just haven't done anything with my channel yet.
Well, if you'd like the opportunity, Papa Rex, to start it off, to kick it off, and to jump on somebody's show to say hello and talk about yourself, talk about Lego. You tell me what you want to talk about, and I'll create a topics list around you, mate. That's how it works for my show.
For mine too, kind of honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what I've noticed about yours as well, is that you put those couple of questions on the side of your thing, and they're kind of tailored to that person generally. So
yeah, they are. Yeah.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, so like, are you gonna do more long form content?
So when you say long form, do you mean like
Just
apart from
videos,
the
videos that are not live streams and shorts.
right? Probably not. It's not really my style because I feel like if you do a short, you can get away with it being kind of just shot on a camera, shot in a shop, um,
Mhm,
or just something you've done on Instagram that you've just kind of edited and cut down to 3 minutes or whatever it is.
mhm,
The class as a short on YouTube,
mhm.
and then obviously there's streaming. For me, those are the two things that suit me. But long form, I think I've done like one long form video, and it's probably had the least interaction because I feel like I don't want to do Lego reviews. I think there's lots of people doing that and they're great at that kind of thing. But I kind of, as you probably noticed, I kind of waffle a little bit, and I just don't think sometimes I just struggle to just be direct, and I can't find like I watch your reviews of a set, and because you're reviewing a set that I wouldn't buy, I find it interesting. But you're able to kind of encapsulate that, talk about that set, and make it like an advert for the set, if you like. I can't do that. I've watched back when I've tried to review something because I have made YouTube videos that are reviews of even Lego, but I've never made them public because I'm just so critical of them. Because I watch them and I just think, if anything, that makes me not want to buy the set. And do you know what I mean? I really struggle with it. So it's just not my forte. I think mine is a little bit more put me on the spot, ask me a question, or put me in a situation where I'm going to do something that I couldn't plan for, and I'm better. I come into sort of being, if you like, but yeah,
That's
just kind
cool.
of organizing something and just, and I say reviews. It's not always about reviews, but anything in terms of just standing there and talking about Lego. Unless I was in a position where I was good at editing and I knew what I was doing and I was confident with editing, I feel like that long form kind of content just I watch kind of CPA's long form. I watch Firebird Bricks long form, and I
Oh yeah.
watch M&R Productions long form. And I just think I can't touch. I can't even get close to touching these guys. And it's not that I'm comparing myself with them because they've been doing it and
Yeah, yeah.
for a lot longer. But I don't feel like I could offer anything in that realm. I feel like, which is why if you look at my YouTube, I haven't posted any content apart from lives for ages. I just think for me at the moment, I'm just reserving YouTube for the live, and Instagram is where my short stuff is going to go. I'm obviously
Well,
not
post
worried.
the shorts on YouTube as well,
Yeah. But again,
or
those
TikTok.
the last one I posted, the last YouTube short I posted was months ago. So I just, I don't know. I'm obviously not in a situation where I'm trying to make money out of this. It's purely a hobby. So
Yeah.
when I spent some time doing a short that I kind of did. I wouldn't say I edited to the max, certainly not to the level of other people, but I did spend some time on trying, and it was just a lot of work. And afterwards, I just thought I felt like I was doing that for content rather than for fun, and because it seemed natural. And I thought, and I looked back at I think I had like, I don't know,
You're 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 are you back?
yeah, I'm kind of losing you a little
You're
bit. It's not like,
frozen. It looks like you're good.
yeah, I'm losing you a little bit as well, mate.
Really?
Yeah, you just
Right
kind of,
now too?
your picture's just gone blurry. I don't
Interesting.
know. I don't know if it's me or you.
Really?
I can hear the crickets there.
That's funny. Have you seen the Pure Rant Furies where Hive just gets so upset at the crickets? It's so
I've seen a
funny.
couple of I've seen a couple of his, but tends to stream. I think he works out like 5 o'clock in the morning here.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
so I've seen a couple of them, but no, I've never seen any of them live, but I've seen a couple of them bits and pieces here and there. I've just got so many people I subscribe to on YouTube that I struggle to try and watch everything. But
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
I did watch the documentary that he made, and I gotta say, in terms of fan-made films about fans, that's probably got to be the best piece of content I've ever seen. So shout out to Hive. That if you get a
No,
chance,
it was really good.
yeah, if you get a chance, anybody watching this, go over to Brick Hive and check out his like documentary.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the
Yeah.
title of it was. It was like something like,
It's why Star Wars fans crack, I think.
yeah,
But
that's it.
either way, whatever that is called, make sure to check it because it was well done.
It was really well done. It was like, you know, he spent some time on the script, and yeah, I really loved it. I enjoyed it. But no, yeah, getting back to what I was saying, I think that I can't even remember what I was saying. What were we talking about?
But yeah.
Wait, what were we talking about before we?
We were talking about like documentary thing.
Yeah, what were we talking about before that?
I think your show. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I feel like I had a point I was going to make, but my brain I just had a complete brain fart and lost everything. So probably because it's early hours in the morning, so forgive me. But no,
But what?
Well, I think. Oh yeah, we were talking about people being on the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've just completely lost my train of thought.
Well, let me address some comments, and then Ostif Spring says, "Whoop whoop! What's up, Ostif?" It seems like Ostif is back.
He's back from the lab.
Yeah, and then he says, and then Papa Rex says, "Is that Hive's cricket?" No, it's not Hive's cricket. He lives on the other side of the country. Ostif says, "Sean!" Yeah, Sean is in the house. And then Ostif says something about something, and then Papa Rex.
We were talking something about something. I don't know. We were in the middle of a conversation, and I think one of us or both of us lost our signal for a second there, and then yeah, my brain signal went along with it. So
weren't we talking about Hive's video?
Yeah, but it was just before that, and I was in the middle of talking about something, and it reminded you of like a rant. So whatever it was we were talking about must have been to do with
the crickets.
No, before that, we were talking about something, and you said, "Have you ever seen? Have you ever?" It must have reminded you of a rant because whatever we were talking about, I think I was going on a bit of a rant basically, and you were asking me if I'd seen Hive's rant, and then we just went off talking about his rants. But
no, I was talking about the crickets. It was related to the crickets, I think.
Yeah.
If you're ever in dire need of someone in the future, I can try and arrange. But yeah, lab is a bit slow tonight. Thankfully, it is slow. Got it. Yeah, well, we'd love to have you on both of our shows, Ostif. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, as long as I got some advance notice, we can tailor the questions and the topics to some extent, not all of it, but some of it to the person coming on, just to make it a bit more exciting. I tell you what, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about long form content.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I was trying to say is that I've done a couple of shorts, and the one where I just literally filmed, I don't think I did it live to YouTube because I wouldn't have been able to at that point, but I did it live to Instagram. And I just filmed myself in the Lego store, showing off some sets, chatting to my daughter because we did a little make and take event. So she had that, and then filmed myself. And it was Instagram live. So it was in my reels. And then I downloaded it from there onto my phone and uploaded it onto YouTube without doing any other extra editing or anything. And that was it. And that was like my second ever YouTube short and probably my third ever YouTube video. And it got like 1K views, which for someone who's just started out, that was quite a lot, like, you know, and I was quite chuffed with that. And all my other content, I think, again, even though it's very little. But my other short form content, my other shorts, and my other videos, I think got like, I don't know, 404 or 400 views. And I'm just thinking that one took no effort whatsoever, and I literally just filmed what I was doing and saying at the time. Whereas the one that I spent probably hours, probably about 8 hours of editing and making sure it looked good and great, got like half as many views. And again, it isn't about the views. I didn't do it for the views, but the only payout sometimes for this stuff is two things. It's how other people enjoy it and how much other people enjoy it, and how much it was enjoyable to you. And for me, both of them were just as enjoyable for me to, you know, that what I was covering in both were enjoyable to me, but one took a couple of seconds and entertained lots of people, and the other one took me hours and entertained a few people. So to me, that said everything to me. And I was like, I'm not going to spend time, you know, and even the editing I did do, it wasn't like hyper editing, cutting, all that kind of stuff. It was just, you know, making it look a bit more glitzy. And I just think that said everything to me in that short space of time, that I just thought, you know what, if ever I'm going to do short form or shorts, it's just going to be like film myself, going to do something really quick. But I just always forget to do it. I mean, I could probably download and share most of my Instagram to YouTube and make shorts out of those, but I just never get around to it. So I think I've probably reserved myself now for the YouTube. It's just for my live streaming, I think, to be honest with you. So that's the long version of an answer to a short question you asked me.
Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, for me, it's like my long form content. Like, you know, I do long form content because I like it, and you know, I think that it's cool. I haven't posted anything in a little bit because I've been busy. I hope to get my most recent video out tomorrow, hopefully. If not, maybe next Saturday. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow.
Can we have a tease? Is it a review? Is it a set you've built?
Yes,
or?
it's a review. It's a review. If it comes out tomorrow, it should be a review of this. I'll give you the tease. Yes, this.
Oh, so that was part of your haul you bought recently, yeah.
Yeah. So it should be a review of that. I still haven't finished it because I think, you know, I kind of changed my review style with the last one. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but the Lion King review, that one was just kind of like cut scenes of stuff. Like the review for this is like, you know, it was just like, and then I did voiceover and all that stuff.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think yours was what I would describe as straight to the point, punchy, involved, and, you know, I could relate to it a lot more. Whereas, you know, some of these others I've watched, the review just goes on, and then it's like a ranking, and then it's this, and you just think, oh, I don't really care about all that. I just want to kind of see the set, see what you think of it, and just, you know. So that's why the way you review sets, I think I couldn't do it, because I would just find I would somehow work 10 minutes of talking into an hour of talking. But I think the way you did it is quite, and it's a long form content, like you call it. But I think your review of like the Simba set or your haul was like 8 minutes long or something like that, which is like,
no, they were way shorter.
Yeah, but one of the ones I watched was about 8 minutes long, and I was thinking, you said everything in those 8 minutes that other people say in like 18 minutes, which is great, because that's right up my street in terms of a viewer. Like I said, I couldn't make that kind of content, but in terms of viewing that kind of content, it is right up my alley. So that's why, you know, I probably enjoy your reviews and your things more than do anybody else.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. But yeah, no, it's just the Simba video. I think the Simba review, I think, was 5 minutes, and like the haul was like 2 minutes, maybe 3.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but there was one that was about 8 minutes long, and I was thinking, wow, is that going to be enough to talk about that set? But when I watched it, I was like, yeah, he said everything that you need to know. Like,
yeah,
why are we messing around? That kind of thing. It's great.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. Yeah.
In answer to Ostiv's question, shave it off, mate. Shave it off. Get rid of it. Unless you've got a nice head of luscious locks like Oaktown has got.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. don't hold on to it, mate. If it's on its way out, when you look at yourself in CCTV, stopping a shoplifter, and then realize that you don't recognize the person you're looking at as yourself because you didn't realize how bald you were, then that's when you come to the realization that those days are gone. You have to succumb to the baldness. That's what happened to me. That was my story, just in case you didn't get it. So
Really, you were stopping a shoplifter, you said?
yeah, stopping a shoplifter, which was a regular occurrence when I lived up the valleys, because sadly, the valleys are a very poor community, so people do it out of desperation rather than because they're
Mhm.
awful people. But yeah, so I was stopping a shoplift, and I was looking it back on CCTV because I had to burn off a copy to give to the police or whatever, which is I did a couple of times a week, and I was like, "Wait, who's that?" And they were like, "That's you." And I was like, "Oh my god, why has nobody told me that I'm like that bald on top?" Because I couldn't see it because my hairline was pretty much intact. It was down here, and I had hair like not as long as yours is now, but I had like a haircut. I'd go to their barbers and have a haircut and have it like looking tidy. But the top of my head up by here where I couldn't see was like balding to the point where I could see through it. And they were like, "Well, you're like 6'3". We can't see the top of your head either. So we don't know, but we do know it's you." And I'm like, right, that's it. And I'm not one of these people who's going to start combing it over or trying to grow it thicker there. Nah, that was it for me. It was like off it came the next day. It's never been back since.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I'm like, dude, if the middle of your scalp is balding, like, just shave it all off. It just looks
Yeah.
better. You look
And the
more
thing is,
badass.
with your hair, the way your hair is that if you had a bald, like obviously you're probably too young to even worry about that at the moment, but if you had a
Mhm.
bald patch, you wouldn't know for a lot longer because your hair is, because of the way it's kind of curly and it's kind of thick, and you
Mhm.
could get away with it for a lot longer. But I already had sort of thin, fine hair and a short haircut. So, even if I grew it long, I'd never cover it up. And because I'm ginger naturally, my hair is a lot lighter. You can see through it kind of thing, even when it's thick. So, so yeah. And I think Ostif's the same. I think he's kind of like fair haired. And I got to say, I didn't notice, but I've never seen him in person. And the difference is that Ostif isn't 6'2" or 6'3" like me. So people are going to see it without kind of making any references to his height. I think people tend to probably be looking at his bald patch more than they would mine. So sorry to say that, Ostif, but yeah, mate, shave it off and just go for that badass look. Maybe hold out till
I'm
either the
5'5".
next.
Well, oh yeah, you're 5'5". You should definitely shave it off then.
Yeah, I didn't want to make any references, but I've seen the photos of him next to PNG, and like he looks like his
Well,
child.
PNG is tall, isn't he?
He is. He is tall. Yeah, I think he's about. I think he's taller than me, but not by much. So I think he was. Is he 6'4" or 6'5"? I believe.
Wow. And then
So
Sean is also pretty tall, I think.
yeah, yeah. It's hard to say
And
when
Brett
you
too.
see these people. When you see these people on like YouTube and stuff like that, you can't. There's no way of knowing really, because I didn't realize how short Tyler Lifebricks was until
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
because
Tyler's a
you just see
shouty.
it. Yeah, and he's just kind of stood next to everybody, and he's kind of like down here kind of thing. So.
Yeah, no, Tyler is short.
But
Yeah.
I got love for the short people because I come from a family of them. I'm like my dad, my mum, my brother are all really short. So
But you're
so
really
I'm
tall. You're 6'3", right? You said?
yeah. I think I'm starting to shrink because I was 6'3", but I'm pretty sure the last time I measured I was like 6'2" and a bit, 6'2" and a half. So I'm at that age now where you unfortunately do start shrinking. But yeah, I'm the milkman's son. So I'm not. I don't. I got ginger hair. Nobody else in my family's got ginger hair. I'm tall. So yeah, I'm not really the milkman's son, but it was a joke when I was growing up. So twist up a man bun. Yeah, I think Oaktown could probably get away with a man bun with his locks, but
Really?
I
Maybe.
don't think it'd work for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I doubt that I'll ever bald because, as far as I know, it's very genetic, and both of my sides of my family don't really suffer from that, fortunately.
Yeah,
And I think I've especially heard it like a good amount of your balding comes from your mom's dad. Did your mom's dad have bald hair? If you happen to
yeah,
know he did, right?
yeah. he's still alive. He's 96 years of
Wow.
age, and he's still alive.
Wow.
But he's probably got more hair than my dad has, though. The balding in my family, the balding comes from my dad's side because
Okay, yeah.
my
Again,
dad
if
left
I'm not
school at
mistaken,
15, and he was balding.
he was 15, he said?
He left school at 15, and he was starting to lose his hair then.
Wow.
Not to the extent where he had a bald patch, but he knew he was losing his hair. Like he was having baths and showers, and there was like lots of
Wow.
hair left. So yeah, I mean, it's probably the Mexican in your blood as well, mate. Because I know that the Mexican sort of people are really sort of thick, dark, hair, even into sort of their senior age, from what I can gather. So really jealous, mate. Really jealous.
Papa Rex says my hair is turning white and on retreat. What do you mean by retreat?
Yeah, it's working its way back.
Oh, so it's the front first?
It depends. Some people like start balding from the front, so their hairline goes and it starts going back. Other people start balding at the back, and then so if I was to grow my hair out, which actually at the moment you can't really see it on here, but it's actually quite long. I normally shave it every like 2 weeks or so, but when it grows out, it grows kind of patchy. So, but if I was to grow it now, there'd be like nothing at the front, and then there'd be like a couple of patches on the top, and then nothing at the back. So even if I did grow it, look awful. But yeah, it's called male pattern baldness, so it depends. Everybody's got a slightly different pattern. Apparently, it's like fingerprints. So
Yeah, because again, so I guess just briefly returning to my family, like both sides of my family, like they have plenty of hair. Like my dad has plenty of hair. Doesn't look like he'll be balding, and both of my grandparents, they weren't really bald per se. So yeah. So I
yeah,
think I'll be good. Hopefully.
there's three worst things you can have when it comes to hair. Apparently, I mean, this isn't what I class as the worst things, but in terms of like, afflictions in hair, there's baldness, there's going grey, and there's being ginger. And I managed to tick all three boxes because I'm bald, I'm ginger, and if you look close enough to the camera, most of the hair in my ginger beard is white. So
Well,
yeah, I don't want to hear any complaints about hair.
Yeah, no, the gray and the white will happen to everyone, but
Yeah,
the other ones not necessarily.
yeah. Well, actually, I found out about a year or so ago that I've actually got some Native American. I'm 1/32 Native American, and I
Like
haven't
Native
really looked.
American from America?
Yeah, Apache apparently.
What?
So
That's weird.
So my mum's great grandmother was apparently Native American, and it kind of makes sense because I remember my great grandmother. She died when I was very young, but I remember her, and she had kind of olivey skin and very white straight hair, which is kind of that what you would associate with that people, if you like. I want to make sure I'm trying to say the right thing, but Native American kind of, as they grow older, they're certainly the older generation have sort of straight white hair and kind of olivey skin, and that's what she looked like. And obviously, her mother was Native American, apparently. So I don't know about the whole Apache thing. I think that my mum probably just said that because she only knows she doesn't know much about it herself, even though it's her side of the family. And I've tried looking it up on Heritage, and unless you pay money to these sites, you can only get so much information. It doesn't seem to go back that far, unfortunately. But yeah, so from what I can gather, I've got some Native American blood in me. So yeah. So watch out. America. I'm coming home. So
Ostos Brick says I'm part Sioux. Yeah, so for me, I have a lot of Native American from Mexico though, blood, and a lot of Spanish blood because of descent. And I will say Latinos are, I guess, for lack of a better term, the mutts of the human race. Like they're just all a combination. Like if you want to get technical, they're all a combination of like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but I think you guys over there got the same kind of treatment as we got from the Vikings. So you had the conquistadors, right? So they were the people who discovered South America.
Well,
So
the Spanish,
whereas,
yeah.
yeah. So they call them the conquistadors because they were kind of the Spanish kind of explorers, if you like, and they kind of mixed with um, the
Correct.
South
Native
American native.
population.
Yeah, and it was like kind of the Incas and things like that, and Aztecs, I think, that were out
Yeah,
there
yeah.
and created the population we have today. But it's the same. I mean, I'm living in a very old country, so like, there are buildings, not even including castles. I'm talking about like churches. There are churches that are still stand today in my town that are older than the America that you currently live in. Do you know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
older
no.
than the entire country, and so it's an old country. It's obviously there was people living in Native America, but I'm talking about like civilized country. It's an old country kind of thing, and no country's any older than the other because they all existed on the planet for the same amount of time. But in terms of like people living there and like towns and things like that. So like this town that I'm living in now was discovered in like I think it's like 14 something. I don't know, whatever it was. But I found out, from looking through like history, all of us in the UK were kind of, the Vikings came across and conquered most of the UK or Great Britain as it was then.
William the Conqueror, right?
Yeah, well, no,
Or
the
no?
Vikings are kind of from sort of Norway,
Yeah, yeah.
Sweden, those kind of countries, and they came and they not conquered, but they kind of, it wasn't really conquering then because most of the Vikings fought each other as well. But they came across, and my limited history about it, but they came across and kind of mixed with the native Scottish, Irish, Welsh, English
Mhm.
as well. So all of us are probably more Viking than we are traditional Welsh. Just like you
Mhm.
guys, so everybody starts somewhere, I guess, in this. So
Mhm.
I sound
Yeah.
German.
See you in German. Yeah, it's see you.
See you, is how you say it, right? Okay, yeah.
Mhm. But yeah, it's just Latinos. That's why I said kind of mutts because they're like, it's just a combination of everything. It's like part Spanish, part Native American. I have probably a bunch of other types of blood. Like, you always see that 1% Jewish,
Yeah.
and that 1% African, and that 1% Asian somehow, and then maybe part Arabic, part French, part Italian. You never know
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
No, you'd have to go back really far to be thoroughbred, wouldn't you? So
to be
yeah.
what?
Thoroughbred.
What does thoroughbred mean?
Thoroughbred means pure, like pure. If I was like pure Welsh,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, I class myself as Welsh because my mum's Welsh and my dad's Welsh, and that's as far back as I'm willing to take it. Because, like I was saying earlier, there's apparently some Native American in me, but it's so far back it's not worth talking about. But my dad's parents are both from England, so he's kind of really. He was born in Wales, lived in Wales, got a Welsh accent, but he classes himself as Welsh. But both of his parents are English, so. Um, So, strictly speaking, that would make me half English. But I don't. To me, it's just about where you live, the language you speak or the accent you've got, and where your parents are from. And I think that's as far as it goes for me. That's this thing. You trace anything back far enough, you could be everything. So
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of me too. That's why I'm Mexican American, Mexican American.
yeah, and I think that works with over there because here I think our countries are a bit more. I don't want to say more at arms with each other, but everybody from Wales wants to be Welsh. Everybody from England wants to be English. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think over
Mhm.
there, American, there's a lot of African American, Mexican American. Do you know what I mean? So because the country is a little bit more diverse,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Steve, good night, mate. Thanks for
Yes. Good night, Asif. Night, boys. We're starting to get busy with shift change. Woohoo! Not woohoo! Not really woohoo. You'll be in the AirPods whilst working. Well, thank you so much for lurking, my man. Seriously, thank you so much for all the support, Austin. And then Papa
Yeah,
Rex says
appreciate it.
later, Austin. Rex, may the force be with you, bro. Yeah, may the force be with you all. Papa Rex puts an emoji. Yeah.
The other thing I'll do is give a shout out to Papa Rex because he always, almost without fail, I think yourself as well, and PNG, a few other people, but Papa Rex is always like one of the first people to like every Instagram post and Instagram. And I say like, you can look and see who's viewed it on, I'm talking about stories now. You can see who's viewed it.
Yeah.
He always hits the heart. And I try to do the same. Whenever I watch one, I hit the heart.
Yeah.
But Papa Rex, so thanks, mate, for being such a huge
Yeah.
supporter of me.
Yeah. I
Probably
do
other
that
people.
too. You know, there are a few people that like I try to look at all their stories. I mean, it's hard to keep up with everyone because I only
Yeah.
have so much time in my life, and stories can be time consuming to look at.
Yeah, and I think the time that goes into making a story compared to the time that people spend watching it is kind of it doesn't compare. But it is nice to try and sort of show some support for other people. But I do tend to, if it's not sort of Star Wars or Lego related, I tend to kind of look at it and maybe not hit the heart. But
Yeah, good point.
hard workers in the community. I don't know if I'd call myself a hard worker in the community, mate, but I'm definitely in it.
Yeah. Huh. Well, you do what you can with your
So
time.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, no, of course you can.
And I know I've asked a couple, but so I always ask people this, and I don't think they really know. So I'm trying to find a better way of asking it. But how would you describe your collection style? There's no easy way.
Ooh. See, that's actually a
What?
really good question. Uh, that's actually complicated. I think definitely play sets for sure. And I like to display stuff. I like to build it and display it. I'll take apart a few things, but I keep most things intact. And
So
I
do
like
you?
building bots with other pieces that I have.
That's what I was about to say. Do you like doing that? Because like for me, I almost find that as much, if not more, fun than just building a set.
Oh
Taking
yeah,
that set
bots are more
apart.
fun than sets for sure.
And there's even different versions of mocking. So you can be the kind of person who'll take like an A-wing and swap out like the green or the red color for blue and pink, for example. So a color swap. You can do mod, where you can take a set and just change it out slightly and just make it cooler or strip it down.
Hmm.
And then there's like mock, where you're following other people's patterns and creating. It's not really mock then, because mock stands for my own creation, but obviously it's not. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go on Rebrickable, for example, and get part out a set and build something that someone else has created. And then you've got the proper raw dog mockers who will just do something completely from scratch. So which of those do you think describes you better, or is it all the above?
Probably raw dog mocker.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm working on this big Imperium Ninjago mock, which I will make a video on soon. I will make a part number 7. It's probably gonna have 10 parts, and then like the final showcase, whatever type of thing.
Right.
But yeah,
So there's already a couple of installments of that, is there?
there's 6 so far.
Right. I've probably completely skipped over them, not knowing what the hell it is, because I do struggle when I look at content that I don't understand. So I'll definitely go away and check that out, because I like to see the progress of things. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
is it something that exists already in Ninjago, or is it just your
Yes,
own
it
version
is.
of something?
Yes, it is something that
Right.
already exists.
And they've never made a set of it, or?
No, because it's like a big city, and I'm just doing like some buildings to
Right.
it. So yeah,
That I think I might have seen that then. Sorry, when you said Imperium, in my mind I was thinking of some kind of ship. Right. Okay.
No.
I think I probably have seen that then.
Yeah. No, it's just a big mock that I've been working on.
I will go away and check that out. But
Yeah.
okay, so mock. So that's the thing, see, for me, is that I feel like I could really fill my content with, because somebody said to me recently, I can't remember who it is that you're in the Lego community and you talk about Lego, and but then you never see Lego in most of my content in terms of stuff that belongs to me. So building a set, reviewing a set, just taking a picture of a set of a minifigure or a mock or anything like that. And they're right, because when I look back, I was like, most of my content on Instagram is talking about my live stream or sharing other people's content, and my YouTube is mostly just my live. So there's not actually anything in there but when I looked at other YouTubers and other Instagram people, there seems to be similar kind of thing. You know, it's a lot of kind of memes of, you know what I mean, and recycled content and kind of thing. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with or better or worse than either. But it frustrates me to think that I got into this community because I love to mark and I love to build sets, and yet I'm in this community and exist in this community now with no evidence of that, which is really kind of weird when you think about it. So,
Well, you can always make mock videos.
exactly, that's what I'm saying, and I just
Whether shorts or long form, I don't know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I filmed myself buying the 2 magazines that had the tins, the Darth Vader tins, recently, and I watched it back and I thought, this is rubbish. Nobody wants to see this. And by the time, and when I went to do it, nobody else had it, because I think I got the 2 tins like straight away. And now loads of people have made that video, and it's got to the point where it's like, if I put this video out now, no one's going to watch it because it's so old and they've seen it already. So with things like that, I think unless I'm going to be productive enough and quick enough to get it out before, or you know, round about the same time everyone else is doing it, it's kind of pointless because it goes off the boil. Same with like, you know, reviewing a set, but with mock, the opportunities there are much bigger because obviously you can make a mock anytime you like, and you know, either it's your own or it's someone else's, and not everybody would have seen it. So, but again, I think I'm too critical of myself when it comes to watching something back. So I do need to get, now that I've got kind of light and stuff like that, once I've got my proper building desk set up, I do need to probably start finding a way of filming myself building it, or at least talking about it and seeing how that goes down. But I have started to have some ideas of trying to do some regular Lego based content and do, like, I don't know, minifigure Monday or something like that, and show off some of my minifigures, or something like that, you know, but we'll see. But I don't think anyone's complaining. I don't think anyone's sort of saying, don't see any Lego from you.
No, because that's the thing. Like we don't like. I don't think you necessarily have to. Maybe you know. Maybe if you wanted to, maybe take some pictures for your Instagram. Maybe that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like maybe when you finish building a set or rebuilding it, it's like, you know, this is a cool set. I just finished building this. You know, that's good Instagram posts.
Well, I've said already a couple of times that I know not everything's about followers, and for me, it's not like this got so many views, this got this many likes. I mean, I'm doing it as a hobby and not for money, so therefore that shouldn't matter. But I do find it strange that I find some other Instagram people, and I've looked through their content, and they've got like maybe 10, 20 sort of things on Instagram, and all of them, not a single one of them is a reel, and all of them are just photos of a Lego set that's been built, that, you know, everybody's got that set as well. And then you look at the likes, and they've got like thousands of likes. I'm just thinking, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it just needs to be simpler. And I was speaking to another YouTuber, an Instagram person. I can't remember who it was. And they were saying, like, all they do, all their video content is just them. They pick a really like trending song or beat from Instagram, and they just take a set. And I've seen like Boba 501st does this, and Padawan, both UK boys, where they just get a set and they'll just pick a nice beat and they'll just show off the set, and that's it. And like that probably takes them 5-10 minutes to do, and it just gets like so many views. And I don't know, it's just, I've never kind of tapped into that because I just think I overthink everything, you know. But yeah, so we'll see. I guess, like I said, I've got so many plans for things I'd like to do, but unfortunately, I think I like I said, I overthink everything. So
Interesting.
I can hear the crickets even now, and you're indoors.
Yeah, because I left the door open
That's
just
mad.
so the air circulates. Yeah. Is it as loud as in Hive's streams?
No, it's not. I can barely. It's only when it went quiet that I could hear it at all. But it's just
Oh,
strange
okay.
for me because it does remind me of being in the USA, or certainly in like California, where it's kind of like, yeah, you got that kind of vibe. We do have crickets here, but it's weird. It's like, it doesn't have the same vibe.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, we just have foxes running around here at night.
Oh, wow. Yeah, in my neighborhood too, since I live in a pretty, I live in a, I'll say somewhat foresty area. We do get some animals around here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like hedgehogs, badgers, rabbits, and foxes, all the kind of traditional British wildlife.
Yeah, for us it's more. Sometimes you even get coyotes out here. I'll be honest.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy. You'll
Crazy.
definitely get some deer as well. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. Some foxes, some skunks, some raccoons, some of all of that stuff. Some squirrels, of course. Squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
So, what's next for Oaktown Bricks then? What's the future of Oaktown Bricks?
Okay, I know I've used that title in a million videos, but anyway, no. What's next is just probably weekly content. I wanted to really stick into it, but life happened and I've been kind of busy, so yeah. But I think I think I'll have a lot more time this weekend. I was kind of busy the past 2 weekends, so I'll probably film a few videos, edit a few videos, post some videos. Well, weekly, like every Saturday morning or something.
Because I noticed on your YouTube that you've got, like, as a banner head, videos every Saturday and Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't do the Wednesday anymore. I'll be honest. I need to change that.
So you're so the Wednesday. So is it these videos you do, the Oaktown podcast? Is that gonna go on the Friday or the Saturday slot now? Is that Friday? That's gonna be Friday now, is it?
Friday.
Okay, that's cool because Friday every other week works for me because I can sort of stay up. But I mean, they're great to watch on replay as well. But so when you say, because you said it's a podcast, I only noticed the other day that certain YouTubers, when I'm watching them on replay, it gives you the option to listen to it without watching it, so that you can do other things on your phone, or if I was walking home from work, I could listen, but not on all of them. So do yours do that? And if they do, how do you do it?
I don't think that mine do that.
Right. I was just wondering how it did, because I was listening to London Bridge Bricks earlier. I'm not sure if you know. Shout out to Greg.
No, of course, Greg. Shout out to Greg. He does great shows. I didn't watch him today, but
and he tends to stream usually around about the time I'm walking home from work, a couple of days a week. I can't remember which days, if I'm honest. So apologies, Greg, if you're watching.
It's every Friday. It's on Fridays.
Is it Fridays? Right. Okay. Because I know it was today, but I don't know what. I'm pretty sure it's happened a couple of times. Can't always be Friday. I'm pretty sure he does.
No, it's always London Calling is every Friday from 11:30. It starts at 11:30 for me.
Right. So yeah,
11:30 a.m. for me in the morning.
AM. So that'd be about right then. So I'm usually watching it when I'm walking home from work, because I have about an hour's walk home from work roughly.
So you walk to work?
Yeah. I'm about an hour away. I call it an hour's walk because Google says an hour, and if I strolled, it would take me an hour. But I actually do it in about 35 minutes if I power walk, which I tend to do. But a medium pace is about 45 minutes walk. But generally, it's he's live in while I'm on the way home, and it's just I find it hard because I'm trying to do other things on my phone, like which I tend to have to do because I don't have my phone on me during work. So it's like basically a day's worth of messages or whatever build up. And like posting something on Instagram, I tend to do when I'm walking home because it's such a long walk. It gives me an opportunity to do things. So I can post like live stories, share other people's stuff to stories, that kind of thing, and message people, whatever I got to do. Sometimes do a work handover, just do stuff on my phone whilst listening to music on Spotify, and I can do that. But today I was looking at Greg's, and I tried to keep flicking over to Messenger to message my fiance, and obviously every time you flick over to WhatsApp, his podcast would go off. But then all of a sudden it came up, do you want to listen to this whilst not watching it or whatever? And I was like, oh yeah, do that. And then it was great then because I could listen and then carry on with everything else. Yeah, it was on YouTube. And I was just thinking, how has that happened? Why have I never had that option before? Am I doing something wrong, or is that something extra he's done? I couldn't work it out. So I was wondering if
maybe it's something extra that he's done.
Yeah, it could be because he always. I don't know if you. Obviously, you've been in his chats, but he always has There's always like a poll or a question going as well at the beginning, and I don't know how to do that. Is that something you need? Like, is that the streaming service?
I don't know how to do that as well. I actually don't either.
Because I really like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
especially because I'm trying to get people to suggest topics, discussion topics.
Can I do a poll? No, I think that I probably need to go on YouTube to do a poll or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him because I speak to him all the time, but I just never thought to ask. So I'll ask him because he's always sending me tips because he gave me some tips for Brickworld, and he's saying that the best thing you can do is take a sig fig. I was just like, I feel like that's going to be expensive, and he was like, oh well, mine's were only worth about 15 quid, and I was like, well, that's a lot to me. But he said there's some people
to bring some one sig fig or many sig figs.
Yeah, he said he works out that they're about to make a sig fig of himself or his version of a sig fig, if you like. He said they work out about 15 quid a piece. But he said you can get them cheaper. So, well, I think mine worked out about four quid when I made one for myself. And I ordered the parts, and they're still sitting in a bag sealed because I haven't had a chance to put them together because I'm trying to not do any Lego until my Lego or the Lego room is set up because I don't want to have it all over the house in bits and pieces. So until it's got a place where he's going to live, I'm not bothering. But anyway, I ordered myself parts to make a sig fig, and I think it cost about 4 quid. And I'm just thinking, I don't really want to do that like 10, 20 times. It's going to be about 80 quid. I'm thinking, that's a lot, to be giving them away. But he said that there were some people's sig figs that he swapped with, their sig fig was like, I think he said about 45 quid a piece. I was just thinking, whew. So I couldn't quite get my head around that. So that was another question I wanted to ask you. Did you find that sig fig exchange was quite a big thing when you were there?
See, I didn't bring any of my sig figs to exchange. I only have one of myself, and that's it. And that's my profile picture, and I don't even know where it is.
Yeah. So he said, oh yeah, that was it. I got one of someone this year, which cost $40. Mine doesn't cost that much, probably around 15 quid. So, but he said, yeah, take that or take something to sign, for people to sign. So, and I assume he means for other people to sign, not for you to sign. But so that'd be interesting. So I'll have to start looking into that. I think it's a bit early to start worrying about stuff like that, but we'll have to start thinking about it. But yeah. Anyway, right. It's like 4:15 in the morning here, and as much as I could probably sit here all morning or all night and chat to you, mate, I'm gonna have to call it a night and go and get some sleep. And the worst part about it is that I'm going to work early in the morning. I decided I was going to go to work early in the morning, which I might change my mind now, which is the joys of being the boss. But
how much did you sleep right before the live stream?
I was supposed to have 3 hours, so that then later when I have another 3 or 4 hours, I would end up having about 7 in total. Because I was thinking, right, I'll finish on the live stream about 3, be in bed by about 3:30, get up by about 7. 6:30. So that's 3 hours, and then I'll have 3 hours now. But I only ended up having like an hour and a half earlier, and at this rate, I'm probably going to end up getting another maybe 2 hours. So
Oh,
I'm going to be
no.
up about 6:30. So I'm going to have had like probably less than 4 hours between the two sleeps. So,
That's not good.
but it was worth it to finally be on the Oaktown podcast and to talk
Thank
about
you.
Lego, Star Wars, and everything in between. So it was worth it.
Yeah.
And it was
So, yeah.
it was an honor, mate. It's an absolute honor. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too. It was a lot of fun talking to you again. Yeah, thank you so much for the support, and I mean that to everyone who showed up today, or other people who show up. Just I've been getting a lot of support on this channel, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's good, mate. And if we do a episode of Cool Hang Luke while we're over in Brickworld, and you do manage to come, or something changes and you come, you'll have to pop on. I don't know how we're going to set it up quite yet, but if we do like a live episode out there, and you're there, you'll have to pop on as one of the special guests. But it would be nice to meet you, mate. But I know obviously circumstances, money, and all those things, they're not as easy to come by. So
yeah, but I might be able to go. I mean, it's just I have to check. But so is the Ready officially sold out?
I'm not 100% sure. I know that Tyler had missed out on a few days that he tried to book, and then he reached out to Mark and managed to get the days that he wanted. So I don't know, but I was of the belief that it sold out, but I'm not sure. Maybe certain days are still available, like the weekend days, because the people who come to them tend to just come from local and pop in, from what I can gather. So those days might still be available. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well,
but,
yeah. Let's close out, I guess. So, goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Goodbye and peace out. So, actually, before we leave, do you want to plug anything? Cool Hondlick Bricks?
No, I think I've probably talked enough about it. But yeah, if you guys are free on a Monday, and so we go at about 8:30. So if you're on the West Coast, you're looking at around about midday, 12-ish. And I think that would be sort of like, I don't know, 3:30 Eastern. Then come along to Cool and Luke Bricks and sort of join the chat, and we try to be as interactive as possible. So new people or old people joining the chat, we'll get them involved and yeah, have a good time. Pretty much the same as this chat, this podcast, I guess. So yeah, but that's it from me, mate. I'm really happy to be here, and thanks to everybody who tuned in. And hopefully, it was as exciting for you guys to watch as it was for me to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of fun, but Papa Rex says, thanks, boys. Yeah, goodbye, Papa Rex, and goodbye, everyone else. So we'll see you all next week, or, on a video sometime before that. But yeah, everyone, goodbye and peace out.